that the players are on the way out into the middle for the last session of this match. Yes, it's really gone the full 5 days, and with no idea yet who's going to win this. I mean, I think we'd have to say that West Indies are favourites. They want 123 more runs to win. They've got 35 overs in which to get them. They've got 7 wickets in hand, but as anyone who's played a game of cricket will know, once that starts to become a reality and you start to think about it and you start really to think about the possibility of your actually winning, rather than just being some vague target out there, it all changes, and you've got 11 people out in the field who are all there together. They're all bonded together as a unit, some very experienced bowlers, and they are going to make it very, very difficult, or at least they should do. Fact is, the way that Shai Hope has played in particular, we know Roston Chase can play. They might knock these off, but I think the guess is that we're in for a really tense session here.
I absolutely agree. I guess. Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad Moeen Ali changed ends. I can't believe it took so long to put him down this Kirkstall Lane end, because last night the one over he bowled, the ball was dancing, the ball was talking for him off the pitch from this end. Sometimes grounds are like that. You bowl at the other end, you just don't get the same joy. And it took 13 or 14 overs of bowling nondescript spin from the rugby ground end. There was nothing on it, the pitch wasn't misbehaving. For Joe to think, well, let's give him a go at the other end, and straight away he looked more dangerous, hitting the pads, hitting the gloves, and then the court slip. So eventually, but yeah, this has got a great session written all over it. My money would be on either an England win or a draw at this point. I think there's a lot of runs still to score for the Windies.
Chase on strike. Moeen's going to bowl the first ball, and he's forward. The ball rolls away to the offside. Bairstow comes out to field. The floodlights are on, so it's quite a gloomy light out there as well, but the sun's trying its best. It's really quite a strange light. We've got a slip, a leg slip, and a forward short leg crouching round the bat, and a man catching on the drive and the leg side as Moeen bowls and Chase drives him towards mid-off. It doesn't get there as Moeen fields in the follow-through. To our left, we've got Stuart Broad out on the offside boundary. Mid-off is saving a single. Long on is out here below us. It looks like Woakes loosening up to me as Chase goes back and plays into the offside. Mid-wicket's fairly deep, but not all the way to the boundary, and the same could be said of the deep backward square leg, who's about 5 yards in from the spectators down there watching this on the edge of their seats. 199 for 3. The target 322. Moeen bowling his off-spin, bowls. Oh, it's gone straight through Chase. That was a poor shot. That was a poor shot. Going at it hard. Tossed up a little bit, inviting the drive, and he wasn't there. He's only just come in, for goodness sake. And that was not a good shot. That's exactly the sort of thing that sends that little tremor through the dressing room and through those waiting to come in. 199 for 3. Moeen again bowls short this time, and he flicks it hard straight into the short leg fieldsman. And so there's no run. 199 for 3. 123 more runs needed by the West Indies for a really famous victory here. Moeen swings his arm. In he goes once more. Bowls. Oh, an awful ball! But it's skied out into the leg side. Where's it gone? Has it gone all the way? I think that's gone for 6, has it? It was a terrible full toss. It's actually, it's a no ball that's been signalled for the height. And it's actually gone for 4. I lost it. That was an absolute shocker from Moeen. It was above waist high, and a startled Chase managed to club it away. It must have slipped out of his hand or something, but you can see the fielders there go, what was that?
I thought it hit it straight up in the air at one point.
So did I.
As well. I thought it was going to be caught. Subsequently it would have been reprieved because it was a no ball. But, yep, filthy pie from Mo, just slipped out of the hands. But other than that, very good start by England, by Moeen Ali.
204 for 3. Oh, where that one came from. Moeen again. Moves in, bowls to Chase. Short, he's on the back foot, playing to the bowler. So that ends a rather eventful opening over. 204 for 3. The target 322. And in fact, rather than Chris Woakes, who was loosening up, it's going to be Jimmy Anderson.
Rightly
who starts up down at the far end.
Rightly so. Get your kingpin on. Yep. I don't know if you've seen this story floating around in it was on the BBC, on the TMS website, about the Welsh Cricket Club who declared on 18 for 1 last week to ensure that they won the league.
Oh, I saw.
They're playing against their local rivals who needed 21 points, which would have needed a bonus point. And so they declared on 18 to 1 and won the game. Honestly, I'm gobsmacked that someone's done that. I think that is the modern day equivalent to Trevor Chappell, to rolling it along the ground.
Well, it's more like Somerset, of course. Back in, Victor Marks very much in on their declaration. Whoever they were playing was in the Gillette couple. Benson Hedges, one of the two, and Brian Rose did it. And it created a hell of a stink. But it was sort of ruled out. He weren't allowed to declare. So presumably, was that a limited overs match or just a time match?
Just their league game. Yeah.
Oh well.
Absolutely. I can't believe it. You see all the replies on Twitter. I know there's a lot of keyboard warriors, but the amount of people saying, well, they're perfectly entitled to la-di-da. What country are these people living in? This is cricket, for goodness sake.
It'll be a rule change. It'll be coming in at the end of the season, no doubt. 204 for 3. The target 322. Anderson's going to bowl from the football stand end, and Joe Root's taking a long time here to set the field. This is for Shai Hope, who's on 74. He's still got a crack at this record of Headlingley's, which we all know by now. Anderson's on his way. He bowls to the right-hander, who covers up and plays into the onside and finds Root. He's one of 2 men catching there in a driving position in the leg side, and in fact he's going to swap with Cook, who's coming out of slip. And he's going into that spot, and Root is coming down to slip. On the leg side, we've got Moeen at mid-on. These 2 men are described, one at short mid-on, one at short mid-wicket. Deep backward square leg and a long leg. There's no third man, there's a slip, and then a backward point, extra cover, and a mid-off. In comes Anderson, urged on by the crowd. Hope waits and then plays that quite late, dabbing it away, square into the offside, and finds Stokes, who immediately sets to work on the ball, rubbing it hard on his trousers. They're trying to preserve the shine on this, but there is a second new ball that England could take if it all boils down to whatever, maybe with 16 to
it's
go.
Another subplot in the game, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Do you dare take it if you've got 2 batsmen who are set?
Yeah,
but you've got to take it
quickly. I
know it's a real balancing act. That's going to be, or potentially anyway. 204 for 3. Anderson comes in and bowls, and Hope is forward, wanting a single, and he'll get it as well. I thought Chase a bit slow setting off there, but they make their ground, and it's 1 more to the West Indies. So they need 117 more to win. They need do no more than score at the rate they have done all day to win this.
That's right. I love the fact the beauty of 5-day cricket is coming to the fore here, because that pitch is 5 days old now.
Yeah,
had this been a 4-day game, we'd have been robbed of today. This has been a brilliant day so far. It's been gripping. And you can just feel it building into this great culmination. It's going to be... Well, I'm excited. I'm patting my knees.
They've got to convince me, Swanee. 205 for 3. Floodlights on. Anderson running in past the umpire. Bowls it short and defended by Chase from under the armpit and played down into the leg side. Really good crowd here today for a last day
it really
crowd.
Is.
I said it earlier, but I think the way that this whole match actually has been marketed has been really good. I've asked Mark Arthur about the fact that people don't up here tend to book much in advance, whether that means it's been easier for them to set these almost daily targets of ticket prices, at Lord's and Oval and places like that, tend to, first 3 or 4 days are sold out.
Yes.
But whatever it is, they've done a really good job here this year. 205 for 3. Anderson's on the way. Bowls again, it's short and tucked away by Chase, who's a tall man, out to deep backward square leg, and they'll take a single. 206 for 3.
That explains it all. Mark Arthur, there you go. Former Notts man, you see.
Former Nottingham Forest, was he?
He was Nottingham County Cricket Club, and he was Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, absolutely. And previous to that, very old time TCCB as they were. I remember as a very young man.
Teston County Cricket Board, yeah.
Cutting his teeth on the marketing side of that too. 206 for 3. Anderson wheels round, bringing those shadows of the floodlights with him. Up the hill he comes, bowls on off stump, and Hope plays defensively, slightly across his pad, which excited Bairstow for a moment. But there's no run, it's the end of the over. 206 for 3, so West Indies need 116 more runs to win. They've got 33 overs in which to do it, so there's no scoreboard pressure. The only pressure is what's between the ears, or something phenomenal from an England bowler. But really, it comes down just to belief now. Can they do it? Can they win a test match in England, the first time in 17 years, 19 tests? That's the hurdle, the psychological hurdle that they have to jump.
Yeah, and the psychological hurdle that Moeen Ali's got to jump is he's only got 1 wicket in this game. He's bowled very much under par, but he's got to believe that he's going to run through them now.
No, he's not had his best game with the ball. In he goes, bowls to Chase, wide outside the off stump. He reaches and slashes this. It's heading down towards deep third man, and the fielder gives that up. It was Stokes there who put a spurt on early, but then realised that the ball was running away. So again, a wide, full ball which Chase went after. 210 for 3, so 112 more needed.
England have got this bizarre, the deep fielder on the offside is at deep extra cover, which says to Moeen Ali, want you to pitch it up and try and get him to drive it. If you're doing that, you need your deep fielder at deep point for that very ball that's a bit wide, that spews off.
Yep.
You want him to try and hit you straight, because that creates the gap, the gate between bat and pad that you're going to bowl the batsman. If he's trying to drive you square, there's no gate.
Moeen bowling, and that just skids on straight. And Chase plays no stroke. Jonathan Bay says, what record are you talking about? I goes, I've just turned on and I don't know. Jonathan, where have you been for the last 3 days, Andrew? That's been, we've been talking about it, haven't you? When you first unearthed this in the depths of your laptop. In goes Moeen, bowls, that spins, but it's too short. Chase can go back.
That's 2 centuries at Headlingley.
No batsman has ever scored 200s in a first-class match at Headlingley.
It's truly remarkable, that.
It is. Brathwaite's had his chance and he blew it with 5 to go, but Hope is still there. He's got 25 to go, so that's the record we're talking about. In goes Moeen, bowls short, brushed away by Chase with his shirt sleeves buttoned down to his wrist there, and that's thrown back from deep square leg. They take 1, so 211 for 3. 111 more to win. It's a Nelson of sorts. 111 more to win, and England supporters have been looking at that and conjuring up images of David Shepherd and everything else. And the Nelson, it's supposed to be bad luck. I'm not sure if it is for West Indians or not. The Australians don't give a damn about 111. 87's their unlucky number.
Strange luck, aren't they?
In goes Moeen, and he bowls to Hope. Forward, playing away into the leg side. He'll get a single, so it comes down to 110 to win, as the West Indies move to 212 for 3, and Hope now to 76. And Cook returns to that catching position.
What does your gut instinct say, Jonathan? Is he going to get 100?
I think he probably will.
Mine says no. It says that record's there and it's not going to be...
Is Moeen again, tossing it up. Chases forward, wanting a single, sent back by his partner though. And there's no run. 212 for 3, so 110 more needed. The amount of games that we've all seen, though, you just know that it's most unlikely as we're plain sailing for anybody.
Yes.
Something will happen. There's going to be twists and turns and tension, because that is always what happens.
That's right. The greatest scriptwriters on earth, the cricketing gods. Something
will happen. Wickets will fall. Will it be the right decision about the new ball? We're talking about that. There's still an awful lot to happen in this.
I'm just keen for Moeen Ali to show that sort of same gumption and confidence with the ball that he does with the bat.
Yeah.
Because he can be the match winner here today.
Here's Anderson bowling to Hope. Oh, it almost cleans him up. And he's got an inside edge, and the ball flashed past the stumps. Down to fine leg. Almost there. Almost. Jimmy Anderson broke through. He hasn't got a wicket today. He began it with 3 wanted to collect 500 and just got inside edge there as I was homing in on the pads.
There's another little chapter to this subplot there.
Well,
that was reverse swing. I've just watched the shiny side was on the leg side, if you like, to try and get a way swing traditionally, but the ball definitely darted back in, so the ball is now going to reverse swing. Jimmy Anderson at one end, Moeen at the other. I think that makes England slightly bigger favourites than they were 2 minutes ago.
All right, 109 more to win. Chase on 12. Anderson on his way, bowls to him, and he's beaten outside the off stump. Root there raised his arm in anticipation at slip. Listen to the crowd.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a wonderful atmosphere, and they really bought into today. They've come along in good numbers. They know that every result is possible, and it still is. But, I didn't get a tie out of this. I've not seen one of those.
No, I've not. Only on black and white.
213 for 3. Anderson comes in, bowls, chases forward to a ball on the off stump, which Anderson kicks up at the second attempt with his left boot. And there's no run. Chase on 12. Hope on 77.
Bobby Simpson's seen 2. He played on the one in 1960 and he was the coach in 86 when the other time.
There you go. Be amazing to see it. 213 for 3. Some nail biting going on in the crowd, I can see. Anderson, arms pumping, runs in hard, bowls, and that's chopped away into the offside by Chase, looking as if he might just have been trying to run it down to the vacant third man. It's potentially a very profitable error, actually, because there's only one slip and a man at backward point, so a lot of space if he dares just open the face of the bat a little and steer the ball there, the risk is that he nibbles it to Bairstow or to Root, but he'll probably get 4 if he gets it through. 213 for 3. 109 more needed. Lots of time left. Anderson runs in hard, bowls short, turned off the hip. Now there's one here, I think. That's probably all they're going to have. The fielder comes in now, picks up, throws, and Anderson's behind the stumps to collect it up at the non-striker's end. So just the one, 214 for 3, 108 more needed by West Indies to win a truly famous victory. And as Fazir was saying, all these calypso writers over there will be just clearing their throats, reaching for their pens and manuscript papers and so on, and writing a song about this. In comes Anderson, bowls, and Hope is forward. He just runs gently away out to cover, and there's no run. 214 for 3. Again, hearty, enthusiastic and supportive applause from the Yorkshire folk here for Lancashire's James Anderson, who's still looking for his first wicket of the day. And so when he arrived here this morning, it was drizzle around and the start was delayed and the floodlights were on, and the ground staff had his super sopper out and were taking the covers off. He thought, whoa, there's ever a day to come along and take your 3 wickets for 500, and there's ever a ground in the world that you probably choose to do it on a day like this. It's Headlingley today.
Absolutely, yes.
Just shows, doesn't it?
Yes. There's that aeroplane again. Same time every day there's an aeroplane that goes over. It sounds like a Wellington bomber or Stirling bomber. Or a Lancaster, I suppose. The old engines.
I don't think it's one of those.
Oh, it definitely isn't. I just saw it, but it's a turbo prop.
Well, it's on time every day, isn't it?
It is on time every day, but it sounds so much better than a jet engine, doesn't it?
It certainly does. 214 for 3. Moeen bowls, tossing it up, driven back by Chase, and Moeen fields. Leg slip, forward short leg, and Cook, their hands behind his back, I think quite happy not to have to take all these awful decisions that Root faces. He's there at short mid wicket as Moeen tosses that up. It's a low full toss. Has he got it through? Well, it won't go for 4. He'll get a couple. I'm afraid Moeen just has not got it right today. Yeah. And because Root really hasn't got anywhere else to turn from a slow bowling option. Not really.
I can't believe he's not had to go himself. Just now he's captain. Yep. I hope he's going to be one of those captains like Mike Atherton, who once he was skipper, never bowled himself, despite once getting 60 wickets in a season in first-class cricket. Athers. But Joe's a partnership breaker. Get him on for 3 or 4. Yeah. Something will happen when Joe's got the ball.
Moeen again moves in, bowls. That's driven for 1. Down to Woakes directly below our window here, right at the very top of this stand, the Kirkstall Lane end, the top of the slope. 217 for 3. Hope on 77 then. Shouts of encouragement. I heard a West Indian accent there as well. There are West Indian supporters here. Was Moeen bowls on the leg stump, nicely played. Hope just on top of the bounce, playing with the spin. Down to backward square leg for 1 more. 218 for 3, and this is all the West Indies have to do. They haven't got to go
that's right.
any faster rate than this. I mean, England can squeeze it. They can put men into more defensive positions. They can raise that run rate a little bit.
They need to try and convince the batsmen they need to do more than that.
Absolutely.
Tell them. That's what short leg does.
Moeen again floats it up, very full once more, and driven out to Broad on the deep cover boundary. 219 for 3. 103 more needed by the West Indies. And they've got 30 overs and 1 ball. Hope on 78. Really important from their perspective that he stays. Then goes Moeen. He bowls to, what wood. Well, that didn't spin at all. It fizzed off the pitch. And Hope was on the back foot. And that very nearly produced an edge to the keeper or to slip. Well, I'm not sure there was a deliberate arm ball of some sort, or whether it just simply, I think, no, it just didn't spin. It just kept going straight on. So it confused everybody. They're very well taken by Bairstow, incidentally, because he actually wasn't confused. He stayed where he was and took it very neatly. But
that's very good keeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the body language of Moeen after bowling, it's a beauty, absolute beauty. He's obviously not done it on purpose, but he just sort of closed his eyes and turned away, almost shrugged shoulders. That should be straight away in front of the batsman. Just show body language, show how confident you are. Yes, of course I did that on purpose. Win that sort of the body language battle with him. Make him mentally think, hang on, he knows something I don't. He's getting me in trouble here. But he's
103
gone back
win.
to mid-on. He's sort of just meandering around. No one's gone up to. No one's giving him a pat on the backside. So brilliant, Mo. Same again. Come on. That bubble's gone. The one that Stuart Broad managed to get the crowd into just before tea. That needs to happen again.
Well, they're behind Jimmy Anderson, 2.19 for 3, 103 more needed. Here's Anderson on his way, bowls, and one that bounces rather. As Chase tried to get onto the front foot, it startled him, hit high up on the splice of the bat. To be picked up in the offside now. There's some changing going on here in the field. And that Stuart Broad, there's some sort of conference going on. So
Yes.
Stuart Broad here has organised a conference with the man down at...
He's told him, get down there, get the crowd on your side. Yeah. Brilliant for Broad. He's run over to mid-off. He's got fine leg Dawid Malan and Mark Stoneman at deep square. So get down there, get the crowd going, whip them up into a frenzy.
Right. Well, we'll see what they do. If that's what they're up to. In comes Anderson, running in very hard indeed, and that's played away out towards mid-wicket. There's an alternative, and that maybe he was trying to convince Chase that he's going to get a short ball here as well, because Anderson running very hard there. Looked like he might be bowling a bouncer. I wonder if that was some sort of ruse just to get into Chase's mind as well, that he's going to get one to hook at. But anyway, they're still down here.
I'm pretty
on
sure
the
he
boundary.
said that to him, but they're feeling very awkward now. They're both very sort of quiet characters, Stoneman and Malan. I think, oh no, please don't make me do that.
In comes Anderson, moves in, bowls, and Chase is squared up. Plays the ball defensively down to Broad. At mid-off, he picks it up and starts rubbing on his trousers. And in fact, there's a few autographs being signed down there. I don't see much conducting of a crowd going on.
No, I think you may have been right, Jonathan. Maybe he's just trying to
double
pull the
bluffer.
wall over Shai Hope's eyes. But within a couple of overs, Broad will have this like up and jumping. The Yorkies look like nothing more than a good sing-song and a cheer. Have you heard of that beer snake? It's a bigger cheer than the cricket for 5 days. So
2.19 for 3, 103 more to win. Anderson with 3 balls left in the over, bowls, and back goes Chase. He doesn't want to get forward, but that is just niggling away in the back of his mind there that there might be a bouncer coming. There's 2 men down there, I know they are. The light not great. These electronic advertising hoardings are well lit up now.
get their money's worth, aren't they? The sponsors now.
Very bright, very bright. But of course, they'll keep going. 2.19 for 3, 103 more needed. Excellent over this. Chase on 17. Anderson comes in, bowls to him, and he stands up and plays that away towards mid-wicket. Just a few maidens here. Will just start to eat away at the West Indies, really make these runs hard to score, make them think that this is a much tougher challenge than it actually is.
This is where you just need to chip inside. Singles aren't good enough, lads. You need boundaries.
Yeah.
Still need to stay positive.
Yeah. Keep it really tight.
I really enjoyed it early when Brody got the crowd going, almost like a long jumper at the start of his run-up.
Last ball of the over. Anderson's on his way, and he bowls, and Chase again covers up and defends. Plays that back to the bowler, and that felt like a maiden. It was a maiden, thank you, Andrew. And it's 2.19 for 3, so the West Indies need 103 more runs to win. England still, well, they look outsiders at the moment, needing 7 wickets to win, but you never, ever know. Graham Swan will confirm that, and then Simon Mann's coming in.
Yeah, Stuart Broad early when he really got the crowd behind, got the crowd up and bubbling. That's what England need to do at the minute. They can't just leave it to the crowd. They can't leave it to Stuart Broad to try and get everyone in on this. In my view, Jonny Bairstow's the man. He's behind the stumps. He's got the gloves on. He's in charge of the bubble, if you like. Get the atmosphere. Just say to 2 or 3 of the fielders, come on, you're with me now. Let's believe this. Let's get everyone else believing this. And you watch, Stuart Broad will believe, and he'll do everything in his power now. He's coming on from the Kirkstall Lane end. Good evening, Simon Mann.
Good evening, Graham. Well, the crowd seem to like the fact that Broad is coming on. Interesting that last over, Chase, OK, there was a maiden, which almost as if Chase was saying, I know you can't keep on bowling because there's a new ball coming up in a few overs' time, so we might just see you off for now. Anderson's bowled 5 overs in that spell.
6 altogether, 3 before tea and 3 since tea.
Right, so it may be that I'll have to give him a rest.
Yeah.
And then Broad is coming on. Stokes has only bowled 5 overs today, so he's a possibility before the new ball. Moeen, 19 overs, 1 for 54. Got the wicket of Brathwaite, who rather gave it away. Right, 103 to win, 29 overs available. And Broad is into the attack, bowling to Hope, who's on 78 with 1 slip in and the short mid-wicket. And Hope goes back and plays it to that short mid-wicket fielder, who is the former captain. And there is no run. And the other thing that happens here today is that we have to bowl all the overs. So, I mean, England could risk a slow over-rate fine, but they can draw it out as well, which just, when you're thinking about winning the game, everything just takes longer. You just need to have that patience as well as a batting side. Don't get ahead of yourself. Hope waits. He's set slightly open stance. Broad goes into bowl to him outside the off stump, and Hope knows there's plenty of time. He doesn't need to do anything extravagant. If he's still batting in an hour and a half's time, and West Indies will be on the verge, and you let that one go by through to Bairstow, and also probably just trying to take the sting out of the crowd as well. If the guy runs up and hurls it down, as calm as you like, just let it go by. Just take some of the sting. Victor's here.
Yeah, well, Hope's played really well. He's really decelerated though. And he caught up with Brathwaite, then he was left behind by Brathwaite, and I can't see. He's gone into his shell. He's feeling the responsibility.
Broad bowls to him. It's full. It's driven. Broad thinks he was going to get onto the pads there, but he got the bat down in time. He played it nicely up to mid-off, and there's no run straight to the fielder.
That's my impression. Is that right, Andrew? Though he's slowed down significantly, but sort of just before and after tea. He's played really well, of course.
Brathwaite for 95, Powell for 23, and Hope for 0. Run out at the non-striker's end. The men out today. Not what England were expecting at 4:45. Only 3 wickets. Broad into bowl to Hope, who opens the face and runs this away down towards backward point, and there is no run.
4 runs of his last 24 balls.
And England doing a good job in the sense that he might start to get a little bit uneasy. He's looked so calm throughout, really. He's barely missed a ball. Started off with a blaze of shots when there was a much more attacking field, of course. The field's fairly widespread now, just the one slip.
Broad bounding in again to bowl to Hope, and Hope comes forward. Another good ball from Broad, targeting that off stump. Hope drives it straight to mid-off, and there's no run. Just looking at Hope, he's 23 years of age, and he's playing in his 12th Test match. But he has shown great concentration and skill in this game. 100 in the first innings, 78 not out in the second, and all the good notices about him before this series are being borne out by his achievements in this game. They all struggled just about, apart from Blackwood at Edgbaston. He's still to come. Broad bowls to Hope. It's full and it's smashed away, but straight to backward point. He's looking for the boundary there, and he'd be disappointed to miss out. That's another maiden, 2 in a row. 219 for 3, but nothing for West Indies to worry about in terms of the run rates. 103 required, and there's still 28 overs left, although 16 of those overs will be with the second new ball if Root, as we expect, takes it. Just depends on the situation in the game. It may be that if Moeen's taken, I don't know, just say Moeen's taken a couple of quick wickets and they might keep him on. But
well, the other factor is, of course, that they're bowling their new ball bowlers now because they feel they've got to. And the plan at the moment, clearly, they don't want to gamble, rightly or wrongly, they don't want to gamble with Moeen at the moment. They've gone to their real senior citizens, and they're going to try and just impose pressure by bowling straight.
Anderson is going to bowl another over, bowls to Chase, who comes quietly forward. You may not have expected to see Anderson for this over with the new ball.
Well, they're
not that
forgetting
far
the new
away.
ball. I don't think they can sort of dawdle to the new ball. And the plan is changed significantly from earlier in the match in the terms of how people bowl. We've seen lots of 7-2 fields, offside fields. No longer. It's 4 men on the offside, one of which is a slip, no third man. So they're going to bowl straight and just try and bowl maidens.
Trying to get some LBWs perhaps as well as Anderson bowls, and Chase goes up on his toes there, trying to force that through the offside, miscues it to short mid-on, and there is no run. Alton Ainley on Twitter says, is it fate that the 2 batsmen at the crease are called Chase and Hope? Well, West Indies not quite on the chase at the moment because they don't, it's not like a one-day game. It might become a bit like that in the last few overs if they are slow. At the moment, they're in control, or some control over the game. Back goes Chase to the bowler, forcing it. Anderson picks up, and there's no run. The crowd doing their best. They've done that since the middle of the afternoon to try to make something happen, try to inspire these England bowlers. But only 2 wickets the bowlers have taken today. And a run out as well. Amazing, isn't it? You wouldn't have still be here on the final session of the 5th day. After a couple of days, just didn't look on. Anderson bowls, and Chase, he plays that rather awkwardly and rings his bottom hand, takes one hand off the bat, playing in defence into the offside. There's no run. He goes out towards cover. Anderson in his 19th overs. How many has he bowled today? Was it 3 last night? Yeah. So 3 last night, 19th, so 16th over of the day.
Yeah, so, I mean, needs must. He might have to bowl now and with a new ball, but he's going to be a tired man tonight, that's for certain.
Anderson in, and it's played calmly. There's, to my eye anyway, by Chase into the onside towards silly mid-on. Arms raised behind, just possibly because they thought Anderson had got onto the pads again. And just to emphasise Victor's point, with this field, Anderson is bowling quite straight, so LBW certainly comes into play if Chase was to make a misjudgment, or Anderson could nip one back fractionally. It's always tough on the umpires in these tight finishes as well. The focus is on them. Anderson to Chase, another straight ball on off stump. Chase is equal to it, playing it back down the pitch. And that's three successive maidens. 219 for 3. So it's 103 to win, but there are still 27 overs left. And there are some dashes to come. If they were to, get within, if it was to be slow from now on for the next, 30, 40 runs, there are some dashes to come in Blackwood and the captain, Jason Holder.
Yeah, absolutely right. The sums are not too difficult for the West Indies, but there's no question 3 maidens in a row in a bit of a run chase. In the batsman's mind, the pressure starts to mount a little bit. Root, it's fascinating this. He's just gone to his vastly experienced pair because he's in a hole. And they're going to have to work really hard for him. He's having a chat now with Stuart Broad, but I think he's, having started on this, he wants to persist with it to try and impose that pressure. Maybe talking about, well, how are we going to do this? Are we going to keep going now? We've got the new ball as well, but I think that's too far ahead for him at the moment. So he wants to really impose pressure, keep this pressure on. 3 maidens on the trot. As you say, it doesn't really matter statistically, but in the heads of the batsmen, they're thinking, hang on a minute, we've got to get going here.
Yeah. Hope on 78. Broad begins a new over, bowls to him, and a thickish inside edge onto his pad there. Again, arms raised, but it wasn't really threatening the stumps. But it was the inside edge, and it rolled out to Stoneman fielding in the covers, and there's no run.
Most dismissals, and there haven't been many today, they come from batsman error rather than unplayable balls. And that's what they're looking for at the moment, England, by just imposing pressure. And they're doing a good job, the old men.
Yep. We've got 3 saving one on the offside, 2 on the on, 2 men back on the leg side, a slip and a silly mid-on. Broad bowls, and that's guided away. Oh, that's a very good stop at slip. That would have been 4. There's a thickish edge, almost a guided edge. And that was Root, stopping 4 runs.
And sort of low 5s all round to Joe Root there. We thought they'd broken the shackles, but it was a very good diving stop.
Well,
with this field,
do you think Cook would have stopped that? Probably
not. Where is Alastair Cook? Is it at mid-wicket, is he? Yes.
Yeah, he's at mid-wicket.
Well, he's been dropped from the slip corner. Can he drop that catch?
Anderson's at silly mid-on. Reached quite wide at first slip, or only slip. And here's Hope waiting for Broad. Broad is with him now, and that's on leg stump. There's an appeal for LBW. This is going down fine for 4 leg buys. It hits the rope now. Broad losing his line. He's appealing, but it looks a very, very optimistic appeal. He's going to have a chat with Root. I can't believe they're going to think about reviewing this, unless he got a long way across. Although, having said that, how many reviews have England got left?
They're going to review.
And how many overs to the new ball?
Well, there's a few.
So there's only 10 overs to the new ball.
Mark, we have a review for LBW.
I don't think this is a good review, but maybe
start with the front foot, please. That's a Headlingley.
This would be a remarkable review.
Vision front on, please.
If it was successable, because Bairstow wasn't very interested,
no,
I tell you.
No, it just felt leg side-ish.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the replay.
It is leg side-ish. It's a poor review, that.
Yeah. Doesn't appear to be any bet. If I could have the ultra edge, please.
I mean, it's only 10 overs, but you could have 2 great LBW shouts in 10 overs.
Yeah.
I don't like
the ball tracking when it's ready.
All this is a waste of time, I think, folks. This is definitely going down.
Well, it's impact outside.
I mean, it's a terrible review.
Impact is outside and it's missing leg stump. I'll tell you when you're on screen. On screen now. Thank you.
Yeah, just about the worst review I think I've ever seen.
well.
I mean, it wasn't even hitting in the line of the stumps. It was hitting outside the leg stump.
It pitched outside the leg stump and kept going. And he was, I think instinctively, he was trying to demonstrate to one and all that actually was a pretty straight ball, but it wasn't.
No, he lost his line there, and that run. Well, it's a maiden technically because runners don't go against the bowler.
Those 4 runs though will just ease the pressure and bring the target.
It's under 100
into 2 figures.
Broad bowls and forward comes Hope. That's a nice solid defensive shot, resisting Broad. He plays that defensively well on the offside, and there's no run. 223 for 3, so 99 more required. The new ball 10 overs away, so England will get the reviews back. But that just seemed futile, that one.
Yeah.
Victor very cannily points out, you never know, you might need those 2 reviews in the last 10 overs. There might be better things around the corner. Broad bowls to Hope, who's surprised by one that seems to leap at him. He takes one hand off the bat, plays it jerkily, but it goes down. Doesn't go to hand, it goes down into the onside. But it's a sort of delivery that can unsettle a batsman even when you've been in for a long time. That's the fascinating thing about this pitch. Every now and again, the batsman, look, you're really discomforted. That took off.
He played it quite well in the end. He watched it as it leapt up in him, and it took the glove, but well, isn't a short leg anyway, but it went down. And he's still there, and it didn't seem to hurt him.
Smacked into the top hand. Broad again. Bowls to Hope, who clips that away, and it beats the mid-wicket. England have a fielder back at square leg, so it should only be 1. The throw's on its way to the non-striker's end, and Anderson backpedaling gathers for his fellow bowler. It was hit really nicely by Hope. Nice crisp shot through mid-wicket. So the first run off the bat for
25 balls.
Well, important, I think, for the West Indies to break that sequence of maidens. There was only 1 run off the bat, but there was the 4-leg buys, so they're often running again. The equation, well, it's 98 runs in 26 overs. I mean, if we all know that if this was a 50-over game, that's not a problem, is it?
Go home
7.
now. Call it now.
Well, except you can't even do that in a 50-over game. But there's something delicious about that situation when it crops up, as it does here, in a test match. On a 5-day-old pitch. The ball is turning, but at the moment, daren't bowl Moeen.
It's Anderson again. Going into bowl to Hope, who again takes one hand off the bat. Seems to be surprised by a ball that bounces a bit more. And he runs it away into the offside. It's picked up by Stokes. I mean, those 2 deliveries, they're sort of balls that if you're a new batsman, might get you out. But when you're in a bit, everything's working.
Yeah,
it's a bit like when you've been driving on the motorway for, I don't know, 2.5 hours. You're almost on autopilot. If you've been driving for 10 minutes, just getting used to the flow of the traffic.
Oh, right. I often wonder whether that's started to lose concentration. Oh, he's broken his bat, I think. He's just gone over to the umpire to show his bat to the umpire, and he may have to get another one. No? Everyone stopped. You think he is waiting for another bat?
Yeah, he's probably signalled to the dressing room, and so we've got a delay. And it feels like this is going to go a long way here. It might be still out there close to 7 o'clock tonight if the light allows us to be out there at 7 o'clock tonight. I hope it doesn't.
Well, they've got
really
the floodlights on.
I know, but you've seen test matches where they've come off with the floodlights on, Victor.
Well,
Oval, Abu Dhabi. I can think of 2.
That would be. I hadn't really considered that possibility. That would be the direst conclusion, and you would hope that the umpire shows some good Yorkshire common sense. if it's such a good game, with the batting side in particular wanting to keep going. But anyway, we won't go there for a minute.
Well, the batting side wanted to keep going in Abu Dhabi as well, but they weren't allowed to do so. And the batting side wanted to keep going at the Oval. So,
that gloomy possibility in every way hadn't really crossed my mind amidst all the 4 results being available.
And the light's actually not too bad at the moment, but the lights are on. It is overcast.
Anyway, he's got a new bat, or a different bat. What a game too. You're just looking at some of the England team out there for the Malans and the Westleys and the Stomans. This is not like many red ball games they've played before.
224 for 3, 98 to win. So Hope has a different bat. He's on 79 and he's facing Anderson. who goes into bowl to him now, and he forces out a well, tries to. It's almost as if he's got a dead piece of wood there. It's a nice looking shot, and it just plunked off the bat into the offside. Straight
He's
to
just
cover.
lost. He's batted a long time. In a sense, he's lost his bat, but he's also slightly lost his timing. He hasn't scored for a long time, in part because Anderson in particular, actually both Anderson and Broad, they've managed to impose that pressure, drawing on all their experience, lots of it, just to bowl straight and aggressively.
Anderson tries again. Bowls to Hope. He plays defensively to a ball just outside the off stump. Once more, it goes to cover, where it's picked up by Chris Woakes, who you talked about. You can't trust Moeen at the moment. They haven't really trusted Chris Woakes today. He's bowled 8 overs, taken 0 for 30 in his comeback test match.
Well, you can tell the situation is tight if you look at the bowling column, because Stokes has only bowled 5 overs, Woakes has bowled 8. 2 opening bowlers have bowled about 18 and 19, well, both bowled 19 at the moment.
It's the old firm, these two, Anderson and Broad. Anderson goes in and bowls to Hope, who flashes this away for 4 off a thickish edge down to third man. Anderson gave him some width. He's been bowling generally straight, but there was width there, and Hope, who's got his eye in, hit that away nicely. It wasn't a perfect shot, but he got a lot of bat on it. A little whip in the shot.
Well, it was almost perfect. He got that width. He knew there was no third man. Anderson will be disgruntled that he gave him that width, and there was no hesitation about going for it. It wasn't a very wide ball, but a little bit of width, and that knowledge that there's no one down there. He launched.
He's up to 83. 228 for 3. Anderson in, bowls. Hope, who drives and misses to a ball so close to off stump and so close to his outside edge as well, or possibly the inside edge.
I think it went between bat and pad.
Yeah.
I think he was quite excited by the previous boundary, and it was foolish. And he went after it, and it went between bat and pad without taking the inside edge. And Anderson thinks what might have been. He's had to work hard. He's bowled a lot of overs in this summer. He's looked really fit.
Well, 35, and he looks 25 the way he's running in still. Lean and lithe. He goes in now and bowls to Hope, who plays that with one hand down to fine leg. Is it going for 4? Yes, it is. Well, a streaky one from Hope. Thickish inside edge. Again, he took one hand off the bat, but it raced down to the fine leg boundary. And any pressure that England were building with Anderson and Broad has just been relieved. 2 boundaries in that over, 5 off the previous one. And West Indies are 90 away from what would be a remarkable victory. 232 for 3. Hope goes to 87. And Andrew's getting excited again about the prospect of this 200s in a match, the first time ever. For the next 20 minutes, it will be Dan Norcross and Victor as well.
Well, that's an amazing stat. And down in the press box, when Brathwaite got out, they were sort of groaning. Yes. It's the Headlingley curse, they said, someone said.
Well, if there is a curse, it means that Hope's going to get out quite shortly. He'd scored 5 runs after tea before those 2 4s in that over.
Yeah, well, the first one was a good shot from a poor ball. The second one, he didn't really know how it got. It was how it got down so fine to fine leg. He'll take it, though.
Those 2 4s made a huge difference, because 25 overs and 90 to get 25 overs, 98. It's a bit different with a new ball due as Broad starts a new over. Forward in defence comes Roston Chase, pushes into the offside. They come through for another run. Well, 89 more to win. Every run that is scored causes Fazir to stroke his beard evermore like a Bond villain at the back of the box.
I've never seen him as a Bond villain.
Well, I hadn't until now.
But he's very, very adaptable, I think.
He is, isn't he? His eyes are narrowing. He's stroking his metaphorical cat. As Broad is at the top of his run.
I thought Blofeld did that.
Well, there'll be more of him in what looks like being the deciding match of the series next week. Broad is in, but it's full ball, which is driven to short extra cover, and there's no run. Well. Not many people predicted this.
No.
And most importantly, with the floodlights on, it's 3 minutes past 5, Victor.
And Broad is we're going to have a delay now. Broad has dug a hole.
Right.
At the end of his run-up, just before the popping crease, and a big chunk of turf has come out, and he's stopped, and he's had a word with the umpire, and he wants the ground staff to come and do something.
Well, if they take long enough over this, it truly will be too dark. But then we're going to find ourselves in, was it Karachi territory? Was it Karachi?
Yeah.
when the umpires will just say you've got to get on with it.
Well, you
'Cause
never
we've
know.
got
You never know
floodlights.
what the umpires do. They have taken people off.
They did famously in 2013 in the last game of the Ashes series
the
at the
Oval.
Oval,
Yeah.
when England required fewer than 30, wasn't it, I think? And Peterson had
Yeah.
scored a few.
That's right.
And nobody could believe it when they took them off then. Nobody could believe many things that day.
But getting back to your notion, you were talking about, well, and there's so many overs to the new ball. What hour is it now? It's 8 overs.
Yeah.
But the other part of that equation is that we've just had Broad and Anderson. How many have they bowled between them? So, I'm not saying they won't take the new ball, but that equation is not simple anymore. Because unless they have to do a superhuman effort, Broad and Anderson, by bowling about 10 overs each, they're not going to have much fuel left in their tanks when the new ball is due.
No. Andrew.
Well, Anderson's bowled 8 overs in the spell either side of T, 3 before T and 5 since then, and Broad's bowled, this is his 3rd.
Well,
So there's all sorts. I think what they were might have been conjuring in their head, although, is that if we can put pressure on, get a wicket, and then we might be able to bring Mo back into the game. I was quite surprised they took him off so quickly, because he got the wicket. Was he conceding runs rapidly? Well, he went for
17
5
and 6.
Yeah. So he found it difficult to find a line. He had a slightly odd field with just 3 men on the offside, huge gaps on the offside. He looked as if he was causing trouble, but he was also leaking runs. And they decided to go for the vast experience and just try and stop the runs, put the pressure on. Well, at the moment, although they've done a good job, Broad and Anderson, I bet you there's an element of kidology here with Broad. Hang on a minute, let's stop the game and just let them contemplate the gravity of the situation.
Well, the ground staff have done their business, and now it's wonderful when you see an actual old-fashioned wheelbarrow, if Ebony Rainford Brent is listening.
Yes.
An actual wheelbarrow. This is what a wheelbarrow looks like, being taken off the field. And it is just a wheelbarrow. There's something strangely Heath Robinson about the whole business.
It's a very handy implement.
Yeah.
Broad probably is a much greater bowler for England, certainly statistically and in most ways, than Angus Fraser, but he doesn't kick the turf so well.
No.
Did you see that one earlier on when he
did.
bowled a bad ball and he went to kick the turf, something which Angus Fraser was absolutely brilliant on, and he sort of stubbed his toe and took a little chunk out of the pitch. He doesn't kick the turf well at all. But
He needs to work on that side of his game, perhaps.
Well,
but
Gus will give him a few handy hints.
just one slip in, this straight mid-on as well, as he's in again. We're starting up and driven beautifully into the ground.
He's furious.
Oh, as well he might, Shai Hope, because that was a long half volley and he only had to get it either side of cover and it was 4.
He hit it very hard. Remember, we've got this just 4 men on the offside, including the slip, so anything wide he attempted by, and that was just in the slot. He smashed it. You could hear it crack.
It's a lovely sounding shot, but straight at Stoneman. Stoneman. And Alastair Cook is now in an even weirder position. He's at a short mid-wicket, but at least he's not moving. Down the leg side, and this one's just been tickled round the corner for a single, and Alastair Cook trots in an ungainly fashion, as is his wont, to go and collect the ball, and then works on the ball, a ball that the England bowlers have attempted to reject for misshapen identity.
Well, they can have another one in 8 overs, but that's a mixed blessing because it'll fly off as well. I think if they're going to take the new ball, and I suppose they're getting to the situation, well, I think they'll have to, then you think that Broad and Anderson might have to have a break for about 8 overs now to that new ball.
Broad in again. Balled. Oh, and how has that not been dragged onto his stumps by Chase? I'll tell you how not, but by it not being dragged onto his stumps. But that was extraordinarily close.
He went to pull it.
Yeah.
Hit his body, I think, and then dribbled down. Could have gone anywhere off the body. It was a sort of slower bouncer. It went off his glove, actually, and then trickled in a stumpward direction.
It did trickle in a stumpward
didn't hit him.
direction. That's absolutely right. He's got away with it. As Roston Chase, the crowd suddenly gone a bit quiet. England could do with them being slightly more vocal. Well, they say that they are. Well done. In comes Broad, has worked into the onside. That's a deep square leg for a single.
So Daniel Norcross says, well done, crowd, very good.
And they clap again. End of the over, 2:35 for 3. That's why I know. 87 more needed to win. 24 overs remain. Hope has 88. Chase has 19. He's kept strike. So if ever there has been delayed gratification in the search for this wonderful stat that Andrew Sampson would love, the 200s in a match at Headlingley, it looks like Hope's going to take us right to the wire. If it happens, it'll happen after 5:30 on the 5th day of a test match. Second new ball is available in 8 overs. Are they going to take it? Who's going to bowl this over? It'll be instructive. It looks like it's Anderson again.
It does.
So they're not bowling well. See, I wondered about bowling Woakes and Stokes and bowling dry, but being cruel, flinging it down the leg side, flinging it wide of off stump, forcing the batsman.
Well, Trevor Bailey famously bowled outside leg stump in a test match here.
Anderson is in. Ball's pushed out into the offside, and Chase cannot get a run. So it goes straight to the field.
He once told me about it. It was against Australia, and it was in in the 50s, and I can't remember, but it was at Headlingley.
Australia? That's fine.
Yes, and Australia were embarked upon a run chase, and Len Hutton was captain. And I think he once, many years later, recounted how he went up to the great Len Hutton and said, "Leonard, do you want to save this game?"
Anderson in. He's got a wide first slip, and only that cuts, but straight to the point. Stokes does the fielding, and there's no run.
And essentially, he demanded the ball bowled about a foot or 18 inches outside leg stump.
Well, he did that. Zimbabwe did that in the "we flipping murdered them" game.
Yeah, I've seen England do it. England did it in Port Elizabeth once with Dominic Cork. Andrew remembers.
Yes, shocking, disgraceful scenes. Anderson in again to Chase, who defends very solidly back up the wicket. There are no real demons out there except in the minds of the batsmen, and that is the issue, where they can control those demons as they zero in ever so slowly on what would be a famous and extraordinary victory. I say extraordinary victory, not extraordinary in the context of this game, because they've been on top in this game through nearly all of it, but when the game started, it would have been extraordinary, and at the start of today, it was deemed extraordinary. As Anderson is in, by a short ball, it's worked to short mid-wicket. There's no run.
It would also be extraordinary in that on only 3 occasions, we've been talking about this, when a declaration, not in the first innings, but in the second innings, it's important to make that distinction, I recognise.
Yes.
It's only happened 3 times with England captains that they've declared and lost the game in what was presumably the third innings. That's right, isn't it?
Because mostly we're quite negative with those sorts of things in England, aren't we? That's been edged between slip and the wicket-keeper down to the boundary for 4. And that's what happens when you're sort of 6 of one, half a dozen the other with your slip. You've got a second slip. And I don't know if it was at a catchable height to slip. I'd need to see it again, but Bairstow was rooted to the spot. It was too wide of him, and it's too wide of this second slip. It's a thick edge. It would have been.
Might just have carried.
Think of carried. And oh my word, Joe Root holds his head in his hands, and he'll be thinking to himself,
"Why didn't I have an orthodox first slip? It might not have carried, but it might have done."
Well, it would have saved 4 runs.
And I don't think the English are any more negative than anyone else. It's only happened 12 times in history.
Okay.
3 of them by England, so they're very positive.
Poke your pen at me, Victor Marks.
Well, it's getting exciting.
Here's Anderson in. Balls and chases. That's edged again, and a half stop by Root. I don't think that carried. Again, we'll need to see. He got enough of a hand on it to save 3 runs, he might say. Joe Root, I have to say, has a somewhat haunted expression on his face, as well he may. 240 for 3, 82 more required for victory. 23 overs remain. We're going to see the replay now. That edge landed just in front of Root, but he saved 3 runs. He can console himself with. But now is the moment when Simon's man raised this yesterday, when the demons will start arriving in Joe Root's head as he thinks of the 8 overs that he could have batted, the 40-odd runs that he might have accrued last night. Because really, if the equation was another 40, it was 113 off 23. It'd be a very different looking field Be different plans, different bowling. They might have got nowhere near here. They wouldn't have had the 5 runs from last night. Not that that's really that important. As Broad is in to Roston Chase, and the ball's pushed down to the offside, fielded at backward point.
Well, they could
Again, no run.
England could still win from here because, I mean, it's unlikely, but it's possible because the West Indies have got to be committed to go for it. They've got to try and create a little bit of history here. They're in such a good position, but one wicket goes, and then, you know, the pressure mounts.
You can tell Fazier's even more excited because he's
understands.
He's now standing on the raised platform behind us. He's never done
he's
that.
on the bridge. He's the
not
skipper
done
on
that
the
throughout
bridge.
the entire match. Broad is in to Chase, and he defends this ball back to the square on the offside, thick outside half of the bat. No run. Hope has 88, Chase 24, West Indies 240 for 3, 82 more to win. Broad is still bowling. Anderson's still bowling. A new ball is available in 6.4 overs.
They might not even take it.
They might go with a soft ball approach.
But they won't be hard. I mean, he's bowling Anderson and Broad into the ground because, well, bluntly, because he doesn't really trust the other ones. That's right.
Looks like it, doesn't it? Broad into Chase again. And that's driven elegantly to the left, mid-off, but it's not going to beat the field, isn't it? There's therefore no run. This field is not the field that Joe Root was thinking in his head when he woke up this morning that he would be setting at 5:14. I can tell you that. It's a long leg, a deep backward square leg, a wide first slip, who is the only slip. A backward point, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, and a short forward square leg. Well. Broad into Chase. And that ball's dabbed down into the gully region. And come through for a quick single. A wild throw. This could be over. This could be 5. There's going to be another dive. And it is. It's 5 runs. The ball thuds into the boundary, and the crowd are not happy about that. And neither is Ben Stokes. The throw came in from Stokes. It wasn't backed up sufficiently well. I don't know if we can blame the field of that. Need to see the replay to see how close he got to it. The throw was unnecessary, in fact. And
it was unnecessary and wide. I don't think we can blame Alastair Cook, who was the first line of defence, and then the other guy, deep square leg. Well, he had a way to go and he couldn't get there. So there's a gloomy-looking route after that. Stokes, he doesn't hold back, but that was probably a bad decision to hurl the ball, especially since it ended up about 5 feet from the stumps anyway. So 5 valuable runs.
5 to Chase. 29 he moves to. 77 more required for victory. As Broad is in, this time to Hope. Shai Hope. Oh, gets a ball that jags back at him. He defends it solidly into the offside. No run for the West Indies. They only need 3.3 and over. But there's got to be something in their heads that's saying, uh-oh, we're getting close to victory.
Well, I
here.
can't speak for the dressing room, but I think that's it. There's in Fazier's head, but that doesn't really count.
Well, I don't think Fazier has actually taken a breath for about 10 minutes. He's looking good on it.
No, he's not. He's looking as calm as a Bond villain.
Broad in again, a bouncer through to the keeper. No run, end of the over. 245 for 3, 74 have been bowled. 22 can be bowled today. And the West Indies require 77 more runs. Shai Hope has 88. He's crawling towards this record. The record is of no consequence to him at all. It's the 77 runs that the West Indies need to win that he's thinking about. What? This is just thrilling and perfect, and why we love Test cricket. So Fazier said, well, you know, people say that Test cricket's marvellous, but that's because it's the only game that lasts 5 days. If you had other games that lasted 5 days, they'd be great. I pointed out to him, but yes, it is the only game that lasts 5 days. So, don't start writing and telling me about the Tour de France. I don't understand how that's a race. Because they all get given the same time, even when they're miles apart from each other. It's utterly baffling. Only the French could concoct a race in which somebody's 100th.
We have a Tour of Yorkshire now. I don't know.
Tour de Yorkshire.
Let's get back here. I mean, he's sticking with Anderson. They bowled 42 overs of the 74 that England have bowled in this innings. Anderson and Broad.
Anderson in again, starting a new over, is played to backward point. Stokes this time mercifully does not fling the ball at the stumps, and there is no run.
It's his 7th since tea in a row. 10th in the spell altogether.
this doesn't feel like a good idea in the long term. But then I suppose the Lord's Test is not until a week on Thursday.
Yeah.
Now, Woakes is warming up now, because Anderson, there must go a point when Anderson really...
He must have got the
bowl
message,
anymore.
I suppose. I mean, usually, well, maybe he's just doing it off his own accord, but
It's quite chilly out there as well.
it's grey. It's quite grey as well. We don't want any interruptions.
Anderson in again and is driven back to him. And there is no run. Anderson's bowled 21.2 overs, taken none for 57. On a day when we began the day in gloomy skies, all talking about his 500
But he could
wicket.
still get it.
You keep saying this.
Well, no,
I'm-
I just
I'm-
know that in this situation, although
Yes.
this pair are doing extremely well, but having to bide their time, you can still get a clatter of wickets that could include, and we might not notice it.
Anderson in again, and Chase tries to cut rather flamboyantly, and in the end ends up sort of strappling it to mid-off. No
I
run.
mean, if Andrew wasn't here, the game is so good that he could get his 500th wicket. We wouldn't notice because
That's
we
true.
wrapped up
That's true.
in the game
That's true.
situation. But I expect Andrew will spot it.
But let me turn it round. You know, if you were in the West Indies camp now, you'd be extremely disappointed, to use the modern vernacular. So Anderson bowls again, defending on the front foot at the offside, no run. If you didn't bring home the bacon from here, 77 more to win, 21.2 overs to do it.
Well, you would, I think.
7 wickets in hand. 7 wickets in hand. Just because the target looked huge to start with at 322. Amazingly,
I know it's been
This-
amazing.
this
People
win-
down below.
WinViz, which is, I think it's all about
History.
History.
Bunk.
And history, exactly.
WinViz has the draw, strong
Yes.
favourite still.
Anderson in again, driven square of the wicket. Good diving stop from Stokes. He will not throw the ball as the batsmen have made their ground, but they've only made their ground to the tune of 1 run. The crowd applaud enthusiastically. 246 for 3.
And they're applauding partly because he decided not to throw that one. Well
Yeah.
done.
Well done, well done.
Well not thrown.
As Anderson comes in with still this wide slip. Bowls to Hope, who gets a short ball. He pushes out to the offside. Just the 1 run off the over, no run off that ball. 76 more required to win. Roston Chase has 30. Shai Hope has 88. And the West Indies are zeroing in on a very famous victory. I'm looking forward to the next 20 minutes of commentary that will be brought to you by Fazir Mohammed. Meanwhile, some thoughts from Vic Marks.
Well, there's some conversations going out there, and it's amongst the senior citizens. There's Joe Root, he's got Alastair Cook there, he's got Jimmy Anderson there. And I guess they're thinking, well, can we keep going? No, they can't keep going with this pair because their last ploy is the new ball at the moment, and they want someone to bowl with it, and they probably want Broad and Anderson to bowl with it. So he's going to change the bowling, and it is Chris Woakes, who's had a motley time with the ball. He's batted very well in this match, but he hasn't quite cracked it with the ball, who's going to come on and bowl a very important spell.
Good to hear your thoughts, Vic.
Bye-bye.
In the meantime, I'll try to keep things moving along here if I don't collapse completely. The left arm went stiff from the bowling on Thursday. Now the right arm is suddenly going stiff out of anxiety. I'll probably be immobile, whichever way this finishes. So the second new ball is due in 5 overs time. Chris Woakes from the Kirkstall end to bowl to Roston Chase, who's played well. Played quietly for his 30 after the dismissal of Kraigg Brathwaite for 95 and a partnership of 144 for the 3rd wicket. And the moment Shai Hope is still there on 88. The West Indies this morning losing the early wicket of Kieran Powell, caught by Stokes at 4th slip for 23. Kyle Hope run out, backing up without scoring. Drive back to the bowler that deflected onto the stumps. And those are the wickets that have gone down. Here's Woakes. A slip and 2 gullies. Bowls to Chase, who takes a big step down the track and brilliantly caught. Superb catch at the mid-on. Tom Westley.
No, it's Mason Crane.
Mason Crane, the
Mason
substitute,
Crane, the sub.
has taken the catch. And is that yet another twist to the action? Woakes, who was being brought on reluctantly by the captain, He took a huge step outside the off stump, almost premeditating the shot, and this was a brilliant diving catch by Mason Crane. And the West Indies have just lost their 4th wicket. Chase departs for 30. It's 246 for 4.
Well, the reason why Chase walked outside of off stump because England had gone 7-2. 7 fielders on the offside. There was just 2 on the onside. It was a wide-ish Mason Crane at mid-on and a deep square leg. So Chase thought, right, I'll get outside of off stump. It's got to be kind of bold out there. And he tried to punch it down the ground, tried to hit it over the top. And then he must have seen the little Mason Crane just step to his left, step again, then flew in the air, took it with 2 hands. What a catch. Who was off? It was the England player that was off to make way for Mason Crane. Maybe Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad. I saw Jimmy's out there. It must have been Stuart Broad that had just snuck off after his spell. But well, that's a huge blow with that second new ball due now. Jermaine Blackwood out there, Faz. You know the way that he's going to play. Look, he's already taken his guard. He's ready.
Well, the way he plays, and with the new ball, 5 overs away, and just his style, it's either the West Indies are going to be very, very close to victory by the time the new ball is taken, or he's going to be out. Because his nature is not to just stick around poking.
Paz, they need 76, and there's only 5 overs to the... I think he's going to play some shots.
Another 30 runs maybe, and that if you can get it down to 50 runs needed by the time the new ball becomes due, that makes a huge difference.
Well, I just think just bat the overs out. Don't get bowled out. They win the game, the West Indies.
It looks that way, but it's the anxiety, what's going on in the mind, the doubts. So there are 2 slips. There's a backward point, extra cover mid-on Mason Crane, where he took that superb catch to just get rid of Roston Chase. There's a deep square leg and a cover on the 3rd man. There's a short ball. He's into the cut shot, misses through to the keeper. That's what you'd expect from Jermaine Blackwood, whatever the situation.
Well, there's the intent.
Indeed.
It's a wide, short ball.
You give him the opportunity to score, he's going to go after it.
I'm just thinking, would Stuart Broad have taken that catch at mid-on? I don't think he'd have got that. Sorry, Stuart, I don't think you'd have dived like Mason Crane to your left. Having just bowled a spell, been bowling all day. What a catch, what a moment. That's his real first impact in Test match cricket, Mason Crane.
We've talked about subs contributions before in the game. As Woakes bowls and he's letting this one go by outside the off stump is Blackwood. At the other end is Shai Hope on 88. Would have had a word with him. They would be reinforcing what's the team plan, what's the idea of where do they want to go, where do they want to get to. By the time the second new ball is due, they'll be looking at that as well. It could accelerate the score. It could bring about a few more wickets. The West Indies will be conscious of losing wickets in bunches. More than anything else, they don't want to lose this Test match, but they don't want to miss the chance of pulling out a shock victory. Woakes bowls at a Blackwood and he's on the back foot, pushing it away towards short extra cover, and there is no run. It remains 246 for 4.
Shai Hope's on 88. Could he? Just could he get that record that Andrew's been talking about?
Yeah, well, but Brathwaite came within 5 runs of it and went caught by Stokes at slip.
I have to say him in Faz, he's played with so much maturity. Anderson bowled a terrific spell. He may still carry on, but he's just he's played it with so much maturity, just hanging in there.
Woakes with the wicket, bowls, and he's watching a delivery outside the off stump after the waft to his first ball, letting it go by. He almost suggested as if he wanted to play the shot again, but restrains himself. The cameras focus on Shannon Gabriel. Maybe they're already speculating that he could be the one on strike with a few runs needed. Last pair at the crease.
Faz, one thing's for sure is, Adam, I'm just going to if Shannon Gabriel walks out there to bat, you have to be on commentary.
As I told you, unless you're going to have a remote position from somewhere on a train between here and Leeds, I'm not going to be on commentary. I do apologize in advance for violating instructions. As a delivery outside the off stump again, and he decides to let it go by. So the end of a wicket taking over. He got the important wicket off Roston Chase. Every wicket is important at this stage. 20 overs to go. The West Indies 246 for 4, needs 76 more to win. That's a touch under 4 runs per over, still within their range with 6 wickets in hand, but the nerves are going to be a factor.
Well, this is going to be a factor as well, because Moeen Ali's coming into the attack. Will the West Indies just fancy this moment and thinking, right, we can take Moeen Ali here for a few, get him hit for 10 or 15, get that target to somewhere near 50. And what's Shai Hope going to be doing now? I know Simon Mann's been mentioning the light, but you just say, look at the shadows now, Faz. It has got a little bit gloomy. Surely they can't bring them off.
Well, sooner or later, the point is going to be reached where the artificial light overtakes the natural light. This is not a day-night test match. Is there going to be a mandatory decision by the umpires that they've got to go off? I mean, it's reasonable to
hope
to
they
consider
use common sense.
Well, sometimes,
I just hope.
sometimes they are bound by certain rules and regulations and can't do otherwise. Slip and a short leg as Moeen Ali from the football stand in. There's a long on, a deep mid wicket and a deep backward square leg. As Hope on the back foot to one that scoots through, gets it off the bottom of the bat, bounces away towards Stokes at slip. 246 for 4. Anxiety, tension.
You've got Shane Dowrich coming in next. He's on a pair. He's on a golden pair. And your captain, Jason Holder.
He's getting a delivery outside off stump, driving this away square. We'll get a couple of runs. We'll get at least 3. Might get 4. It's being chased down. Will be pulled back in. So he goes into the 90s, Shai Hope. Getting some width outside the off stump from Moeen Ali, who hasn't really bowled as well as he would have been expecting in these conditions. So he goes on to 91. The countdown continues. 73 more needed for the West Indies with 19.3 overs to go. And Jermaine Blackwood comes into strike. And he was stumped by a mile in the second innings in Birmingham when he went after Moeen. Still the slip and the short leg as Moeen will come in now. Bowls to him and he's playing from the crease back along the pitch towards the long on fielder. And he'll get just the single to get him off the mark. 250 is up. 250 for 4. 72 more needed.
Tremendous effort. It's been by the West Indies. They've played it so well today. Have they got the coolness? Have they got the calmness to just get another 72 runs?
Moeen bowls to Hope and he's on the back foot, turning it away backward a square past the short leg. Gets another run. He goes on to 92. So Andrew is looking with increasing anxiety as to whether or not that record will be broken of centuries in both innings of a first-class match. It's never happened at Headlingley.
Nobody'd even gotten to the 90s in the second innings, having made 100 in the first innings before today.
I know it's happened twice.
Yeah.
Here goes Moeen to bowl to Blackwood. Big heave out towards deep mid-wicket, finding the gap. Yes, he's found the gap. He'll give the bowler a chance. He'll give the fielders a chance. But if he gets away with it, he'll push the West Indies closer to the target. 255 for 4, boundary to mid-wicket.
Well, you said it, Faz. If he bats till the new ball and he gets a bit of the strike, you know that the scoreboard's going to tick over. This is just a powerful strike over mid-wicket. There's a cow corner out there. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, was it? Who's out there? Is that Westley out there on the boundary?
Yeah, looks like him. Probably to the longest area of the field. He's waiting on Moeen again. Into him once more. He's pushing forward. Out towards Barrage. He's charging down the track. Could be in trouble here with a direct hit. Didn't calculate on Jimmy Anderson coming around from short mid-wicket and would have been in trouble with a direct hit. End of the over. Anxiety, tension all around. 255 for 4. The West Indies need 67 more runs. England still striving to restrain them, to prevent them from getting to that target of 322.
Yeah, I mean, Jermaine Blackwood, play your natural game, but don't panic to, send the message to Shai Hope to panic as well. You've just got to play your natural game when you're on strike. Don't do anything silly. 67 more runs to win.
Well, Mason Crane has just gotten a huge ovation coming off the field because Stuart Broad is back on after that superb diving catch, two-handed at mid-on, going to his left to remove Roston Chase for 30. The West Indies 255 for 4, 19 overs to go. The second new ball is available in 3 overs time.
Yeah, 19 overs, 67. 6 wickets for England. Anderson's still 3 away from the 500th Test match wicket. Everything's possible.
Everything could happen.
Draw, a tie, off for a bad lie. Anderson could still get 3 to get his 500th wicket.
Hope to get the 100 and all of these elements in play. Hope waits on Chris Woakes. 2 slips in play and he's punching into the offside for a single out towards deep cover. He's on to 93. Blackwood to come back into strike. 256 for 4, 66 more to go.
Well, you just sense with Blackwood that if it's full, he's going to try and climb into it over extra cover. Nice to whack it over the top mid-off. Who's it mid-off? Is that Who's it mid-off? Is that Stoneman? was it Malan? Malan, just a little bit deeper. Look, he's almost halfway back to the boundary.
Mid-on in a regular position in Broad as Woakes bowls. He's giving him the charge, looking to drive back towards the bowler. This is what he'll give you, Jermaine Blackwood. He'll drive you absolutely mad with the way that he plays.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it from an English perspective. They don't want this. You know, they just need him out because they know that 20 minutes of Jermaine Blackwood and this game's won for the West Indies.
Shai Hope has gone down to have a word with him, probably just to remind him about the situation, and he'll say, yeah man, no problem, and he'll continue to bat the way that he bats.
Yeah, thanks for your offer.
Yeah.
Thanks for your offer of advice, but I'm just dancing.
There's a deepish mid-off, 3/4 way to the boundary. There's a cover on the boundary and a square leg on the rope. As Woakes bowls to Blackwood, playing from the crease, looking for the big drive. Appeal for a catch behind, not really confident. Through to the keeper.
He's trying to hit that one into Headlingley.
Here's
they've got a review left, you see, England, and with the second new ball due, they're just thinking, well, should we use it up? And Dowrich decided not to.
Ian Bagshaw says that I have no quibble with the England declaration, but with all the uncalled no balls, with the subsequent loss of runs and the opportunity to score more from the extra deliveries, how would the scores look? What are ICC and ECB proposing to do about it? Well, Ian, it's all well and good to talk about these things, but I think in fairness to Joe Root, it looked a proper declaration.
Yeah,
it looked the declaration that he had to make at the time. Woakes in again, bowls, and Blackwood is beaten. Delivery that jags across him and goes past the outside edge again. So after that bit of adventure, a word in his ear from Shai Hope, he's gone into his shell and could get out.
I think he's coming back out of his shell, this ball. I think he's had one ball of playing normally, and he's trying to whip it across the line to mid-wicket. There's a massive open space, just one fielder on the boundary on the onside, just about 10 yards in front of square. Stuart Broad halfway back at mid-on, so there's big open spaces. Get ready here, Faz, he's coming.
Here goes Woakes. The ball to him, and he's back into his crease and looking to pull that one away. Misses, it keeps a bit low. Premeditated, Jermaine Blackwood. And it's yet another dot ball. It's one of those overs where not a run has been scored so far in the over, just the single at the start of the over. But Blackwood has played so many shots. He's been beaten time and again.
I reckon he's missed that ball.
Dot balls.
I think he's missed that ball by about 1.5 yards. Kept a bit low, but he was miles from it.
He's got an impressive record against England.
Get ready, here he comes.
Last ball of the over. Here he goes. And he's playing defensively back along the pitch, end of the over. Just the one run from it. Chris Woakes has come on, gotten the wicket of Roston Chase, conceded just the one run in the over. 256 for 4, 66 more needed from 18 overs.
How's Chris Woakes just bowled 5 dot balls to Jermaine Blackwood? I'll never know. The coach, Stuart Law, had enough. He was sat on the balcony. He seems to have been sat in that same position throughout the whole Test match. Well, he's gone inside. I don't think he can watch. He was all calm and very cool when Roston Chase was out there. He played beautifully. Played the situation, and you could see what he was trying to do. Actually, you could see that he fancied hitting Chris Woakes, who'd been out of form, not in great rhythm. He probably thought, I'll just take him down, hit him for a boundary or two, and that could be a huge moment of getting the West Indies close to that target. Now then, what's he going to do here with Shai Hope?
Well, we've talked about 3.5 runs per over from the start of the day. It remains 3.5 runs per over as Moeen bowls to Hope, and he's playing it back along the pitch. Was probably looking to go towards long on, looking to go across the line of the delivery, reaching out to it. He is on 92, 93. Blackwood is on 5 as Moeen bowls to him, and he's playing from the crease. An appeal for LBW, probably hit outside the line of the off stump. Bit of turn, bit of bounce, bit of anxiety. And the captain, Joe Root, looking towards his teammates, asking the question, is it something you want us to review? They've wasted a review already, and they're going to review this one. Because the second new ball is not too far away. So they're probably telling themselves, okay, let's use this one. It might work. It's not out on the field. It's a legal delivery from Moeen Ali. And let's see what happens now at the business end. Was he hit outside the line of off stump? It could be close.
Look like any bet. Can we confirm with Alzarri?
I think it might be umpire's call on impact.
Looks close. No suggestion of an inside edge.
Just height maybe as well.
Height might be a factor because it's on the way up hitting the knee roll.
Ball tracking, please.
So we'll have to wait and see now. Let's see what happens. Where's he hit? He's hit outside the line. Umpire's call. So it's umpire's call.
Okay,
and
Chris, umpire's call on impact
clipping
and on
a
the
leg stump
wickets,
anyway.
so you can stay with your decision.
Either way, it's umpire's call. So they've used up their reviews, but are going to have a couple more available to them in 2 overs time when the second new ball becomes due. Not a bad call.
Yeah, it was worth having a go, wasn't it? I mean, the interesting to someone like Jermaine Blackwood, when you take the new ball, is what field you have. Because they're going to have a couple out. I would certainly have a third man to him, because those big drives that he plays, you could quite easily get one going down to third man. You need that cover kind of point, extra cover out as well.
Moeen to Hope, and he's driving into the offside for the single out towards deep cover. He's up to 94. He's seen his fellow Barbadian, the opening batsman Kraigg Brathwaite, depart for 95. Caught it slip by Stokes off the bowling of Moeen Ali, and a partnership of 144. A message coming out for the 2 batsmen, courtesy of another Barbadian in Raymon Reifer. That happened between overs. And Moeen bowls now to Blackwood off the back foot, looking for the forcing shot, but only plays it away towards Alastair Cook at short extra cover.
Yeah, fast. Strap yourself in here. That was a little bit short. He's dancing down.
Alastair Cook, who dropped Brathwaite on 4 earlier this morning, off the bowling of Broad. Moeen bowls to Blackwood. He's on the back foot. Just for a moment there, they were waiting to see if it had gone past Moeen. It did, and they were able to get the single out towards the long off, picked up by the captain, Joe Root.
Well, Moeen Ali's giving it no air to Blackwood. He's just kind of just firing it in.
258 for 4, 64 more needed. 17 overs to come after this one. Slip in place in Jimmy Anderson, short leg and Stoneman. As Moeen will come in now, bowl, and he's tucking this one away very calmly out towards forward square leg. They think about the second run, decide against it. So Shai Hope will stay on strike. The second new ball will be due in 1 over's time. It's 259 for 4. The West Indies need 63 more runs for what would be a famous victory. 17 overs to go in total. Hope is 95. He needs 5 more runs to make history here at Edgbaston. Jimmy Anderson still needs 3 more wickets to make history of his own. And with all of that still very much in play, more from Michael, and then it will be Aggers.
Yeah, and it's going to be Chris Woakes to continue. Just 1 over to go before that second new ball. The lights are on. It's a little bit gloomy. A few shadows around the players, and Shai Hope is just 5 away. 5 away from his second 100 in the match. It's there for the West Indies. They bat the overs here, Aggers. They've got to get those runs, haven't they?
Well, you'd think so, but as we've said throughout, it just... the tension starts to bite, and the reality comes. But they do look in control. 63 more to win. In goes Woakes. He's bowling to Hope on 95. He's forward. He's playing slightly across the pad. And Broad comes in from mid-on to do the fielding. The light isn't very good. I haven't yet seen an umpire brandishing a light meter, as if they don't really want to be seen to be doing it. Perhaps they're just doing it under the coat or something. But it's getting to that stage where they must be considering it.
I hope not.
So do I.
Hope they just play on. Use some common sense.
259 for 4. In goes Woakes, and he bowls to Hope. It's outside the off stump. He drives a flashing square drive out to the man to our left. 15 yards inside the rope at deep point. And they take 1 more run. 62 to win.
So I guess what have you made of Jermaine Blackwood's inning so far?
Frenetic.
Strap yourself. This is great fun. Anything could happen. We could get a catch up here.
It's a bit, it's a wild thing to have to bowl at, isn't it? And when you're trying to keep some sort of control, you've got somebody playing like this. A new ball's due in 4 balls. Do they take it? I'm going to throw that at you, former England captain.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, they have
to. 62 more to win. Blackwood's on strike. Woakes bowls to him, and very calmly he comes forward. And Woakes fields that as he follows through. 62 more to win. A new ball due in 3 balls' time.
Yeah, you fire Jimmy Anderson up again from that rugby stand end, and you say to Stuart Broad, come on.
Yeah, they've got to get another spell out of them.
Bit of magic.
The light is interesting because, of course, these days it's not a question of offering the light to anybody. The umpires simply make that decision, and there's not been, I'm sure I'm right in saying, anything during this match by which they made any sort of mark, have they? So this is the first time light has come into play. In goes Woakes. Bowls has turned away into the leg side by Blackwood, running the first one very quickly. The fielder scurrying in for the West Stand, picks up cleanly, throws into Bairstow. 1 run taken, 61 more to win. 261 for 4. 2 balls to go until Joe Root has to decide whether or not he wants to take this new ball. He can take it any time after 2 balls to go, but that decision will then be his to make. He's got his hands thrust deep in his pockets at slip at the moment.
Hope's on 96. Little flick through mid-wicket. There's a big open space there. I'm sure Woakes is gearing with this field. 7-2 offside to bowl down into channel to Jonny Bairstow's right. Will he play a big drive?
All down to fine leg. Hope on 96. In goes Woakes. Bowls to him. He stands up. Forces square out to point. And there's only 1 run for him there, but 1 run it is. 60 more to win. 262 for 4. That little gap down there at fine leg. A little tempter, surely, for Hope in that situation. But maybe that's what England want. Get across in front of the stumps, miss it, and fall LBW. Blackwood with mid-off deep, mid-on fairly deep, mid-wicket deep. There's 2 men on the leg side. Blackwood's on 7. And in goes Woakes. He's there now, and he bowls to him, and he has a mighty heave and hits that away through the leg side. And Broad watches it hit the boundary behind him. It was an ugly swipe, to be honest. But that's the way he's going to play, and that's where it's so hard, because his runs could come at a rush if Blackwood has some luck and plays his strokes. And with a field like that, with no protection at all into the leg side, he knew that, and he dragged it across with some bottom hand. Right past Stuart Broad at mid-on and down into the boundary. Now, here's our first sign of the lights, because Nick Cook has appeared, the 4th umpire, and is bringing out a light meter.
No, it's a new ball.
It's a new ball. It's a new ball. So I don't think there was any light meter exchange there. They still are light meter less. The new ball is available.
The old ball gets thrown off by Stuart Broad, so they take it straight away. Jimmy Anderson's with Alastair Cook, the ex-captain.
Right. And this again, this brings the whole question of light into play, though, for the umpires, doesn't it? A new ball. Well, let's hope that they remain as they are, but it is entirely for the umpires to make that call now. Anderson will bowl from the far end. There's 16 overs to go. Root has taken the new ball immediately. Hope's on 97. Blackwood is on 11.
Well, I don't think the fielders know that he's taken the ball, because there's 3 still. There's a mid-on. Well, there you go. Westley's moving over from short mid-wicket. Stoneman goes back to the square leg boundary. You've got to protect your boundaries, but you've got to have those catches in.
Well, I was going to say, there's no point taking the new ball otherwise, really, is there?
You've got to have 3 catches.
Yeah, unless you're going to have people to catch it. But with Blackwood in particular, well, it gives you a bit of a chance, but if he's going to play his shots. But they're going to have 2 close catches by the look of it, 2 slips. And the new ball is in James Anderson's hands. He hasn't taken a wicket yet today. He needs 3 for 500. Hope, meanwhile, is on 97 not out. 3 away from his second 100 in the match. It's never been done here in a first-class match, let alone a test match. 266 for 4. Here comes Anderson, and he bowls, and that's flicked away off his hip nicely by Hope. He only gets 1, though. To Stoneman, who's coming in off that deep mid-wicket boundary.
This is when it gets really tough for a captain, because you've got to take into the equation, yet you've got to stop the boundaries, but the reason why you've taken the second new ball is to bowl them out. You know, you've got to think wickets. You could have 1 more catcher.
Where is Blackwood going to try and hit him? That's the question. He can't, unless he is just going to get his head down and play it. They need 3 and over.
I don't think that's in his repertoire, because I think he's thinking if it's up, it's off. And this is where it gets really tough for the captain and the fielding team to set the field, because to the old ball they had mid-on and mid-off pretty much on the rope. Do you gamble, allow him to play one? I would. I'd keep them all up and say, go on, then try and whack Jimmy Anderson over the top.
Yeah, let's have a look and see what you've got.
Just keep Stuart Broad. Just looks like he's hovering a bit. He's going to go a bit deeper at mid-off, and extra covers coming in quite tight. Westley at short, extra cover, backward point, 3rd man down. Moeen Ali better get ready, because quite easy with his bat speed, the top edge might travel down to 3rd man, so that's quite a good position for someone like Jermaine Blackwood.
Blackwood on strike. He's on 11 not out, and Anderson runs in very hard indeed. He steps away and slams him down the ground. What a shot. It's gone for 6. It's gone for 6, landing just in front of the sight screen. The umpires are checking. He looked like 6 to me. He stepped away and just flogged that straight over Anderson's head and into the covers for 6. And I mean the rain covers rather than the covers in the field, as it were. A dismissive disdainful shot. Extraordinary stroke, really, for this number 6 batsman, but up go the umpire's hands. It was 6. 49 more to win. Blackwood on 17. Anderson again runs in and bowls to him, and this time he pushes off the back foot up to Westley at short cover. So there's a long on and a long off now. Broad's loosening up way down there in the distance.
Who's that West Indian batsman that in a test match in the Caribbean, and England had long on and long off early in a test match? I think it was Andrew Caddick bowling. Planting him over the top, so they had to put long on and long off. But this is what it reminded me of. Jimmy Anderson's got long on, long off.
Sounds like someone like Clayton Lambert or somebody.
He's a right-hander, big tall chap.
Anyway, 273 for 4. It's 49 more to win. In comes Anderson then from the far end, running in hard, bowls to Blackwood. It hits him high, and Broad's down there. He's running to his right. He can stop it. He can't catch it. But they take 1 run. He didn't quite get out of the middle of the bat. Anything pitched up seems to be going.
Philo Wallace.
Oh, Philo Wallace, yes. 274 for 4. Root's got a smile on his face, but it's not one of those sort of hysterical laughter sort of smiles. Just an anxious, nervy-looking smile. And perhaps a little bit of, what sort of shot's that? Now we focus on Shai Hope, 23 years old. 2 away from making history here at Headlingley. Anderson's on his way past the umpire. He bowls to Hope, who drives him into the onside. He's going to get 1, and there's a ricochet, but the fielder desperately Woakes there, scrambles and denies Hope his second. He's on 99 not out. 275 for 4. And Blackwood arrives again. This small figure, right-handed, is swinging his bat. These two have put on 29. Come on, Jimmy, somebody shouts out in some desperation from the crowd. 47 more to win. It's gloomy. And Anderson on his way again, comes in, bowls to Blackwood, who has a terrible swipe. He moved across there outside the off stump and tried to smash that down the ground. And he missed it. So 275 for 4. Do I really see an umpire's signal there for drinks? I did. We're going to have a drinks break. Well, I don't know quite why, but anyway, on go the ground staff. And there's going to be a pause. You fancy this probably only benefits England, I guess, to have a word. Poor old Hope stranded on 99. But quite what sort of drinks they're having at 10 to 6, I don't know. But anyway, somehow Hope's got to keep his concentration. Blackwood just does his own thing anyway. And the ground staff are out there marking out the creases. And the crowd can stretch their legs a bit. But I think, like the rest of us, they wish the action was continuing.
Yeah, I mean, that second new ball, because it didn't swing a lot. I mean, I know you've got Blackwood swinging the willow hard, but there was nothing through the air. And this is the West Indies game. They just stay in control. You want a bit of Blackwood if you're the West Indies team for another 15 minutes, but Shai Hope can just continue playing the way that he's playing. This game is theirs.
Trouble with that new ball, as you were saying, is that you take it if you're going to put people in the position to get wickets. I mean, you've got to get wickets, but if you don't, and you've got someone like Blackwood who's just looking to hit it, to smack it, it just flies all over the place.
I think they had to take it.
So, I'm with you. I think they did, but it's not straightforward, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, you could quite easily have gone with the older ball and kept a bit of spin on, but I think when you've got Anderson and Broad, your 2 experienced bowlers, you've got to give them a new cherry. In these conditions, the lights are on, it's a bit gloomy.
Yeah,
it's the right decision, but you've just got to say the West Indies today, they've played with so much calmness.
They have. They've played really well.
Control. They've had techniques that have been very good. They've played wonderful strokes, and I don't think the pitch has done a great. It certainly hasn't moved through the air. On the days 1, 2, 3 and 4, there's always just been a little bit of movement through the air for the seam. There's not been anything through the air today, which is surprising because it's probably been the gloomiest of the day since day one.
Andrew.
Let's get a couple of stats in while the drinks breaks on. If West Indies were to successfully chase it, it'll be their 4th highest successful run chase. It'll be the 4th highest ever against England. It'll be the 3rd highest in a test match in England. And they'll be just the 7th team to score 300 runs or more on the final day to win a test match.
Oh, well. Yeah, there's a lot at stake here. And we mentioned Hope's 99 not out. He wants to convert that to 100, which would be a wonderful achievement. There's a couple of groundsmen out there who look actually that they're more likely on their allotment All sorts of gardening going on. It's in Stuart Broad's run-up, I think. But the chap there looks like he's planting his carrots or something. He's got his prodder out and stamping away. It's all taking time. The light is inevitably getting worse through all of this gardening. Geoffrey Boycott's here still in his pink, and it's quite a finish, isn't it, Geoffrey?
I think it's wonderful for cricket. If Joe Root hadn't have declared, we wouldn't have such a wonderful game of cricket.
Well, there's no one seriously saying that was a bad decision, are they?
No, I'm just making the point, though. I hope nobody does. I mean, you can talk about, as I did earlier, would I have bowled Woakes straight after, lunch? No, I'd have bowled Stuart Broad and so forth. But the declaration itself is better for the game of cricket than if England had made another 30 runs, we'd have just had a draw.
Commentary continues, although only commentating on gardening at the moment. This is ridiculous. Hands and knees, he's got all sorts of peat and he's planting goodness knows what in there. That's on 5 Live Sports Extra, but for our long wave listeners, time for the shipping forecast. This is bonkers. I mean, why are they digging this up now? You've got 15 overs to go in the game.
We're hoping it gets a bit darker for England so they can't see.
I was going to say, the umpires are looking there, but they shouldn't have allowed this to happen, really. I mean, look, it's a soil going on there. They've dug everything out. He'll be putting his run of beans in there in a minute. I mean, really. 7 overs to bowl from this end, and Anyway, Geoffrey, 275 for 4. Let's not detract from this brilliant finish. Broad is going to bowl from this end.
Look, once you get to this position, it's really for the batting side to lose.
Yes.
Really. They've got one guy in who's playing well, played superbly. Probably the 2 innings of his life he's played. He's got a great chance to be a bit of history here. Headingley's always providing history. And you've actually got the right man at the other end, because he's a very uninhibited player, isn't he? Just if he gets anything up, he's going to smack it. And if he gets just a number of balls, he don't need many, he's going to rattle runs very quickly. We've seen how he slogged Anderson. That's the way he plays. So you've got one who's in, controlling one end, and one guy who's going to whack it and take the game very quickly away from him, very quickly to get you home. So it's actually a perfect scenario.
Well, they've finally finished gardening. I'm sorry, I think that was silly. But there's a huge sort of soil patch down there now by the umpire that Stuart Broad will run through. But let's focus on Shai Hope on 99 not out. Lots of gaps around for him to push this for a single to reach his second 100 of the match. It's never been done here before. And there he is, over his bat, the young man. He's going to face Stuart Broad. In he goes through that soily patch, and bowls is driven beautifully, but straight to mid-on. And there's no run, but that was absolutely out of the middle of the bat. And it's 275 for 4, with Hope on 99. Just past 5 to 6. The floodlights on, and really not much brightness about. I don't think it's going to get any better than this. Low cloud. But these two are both in. Hope on 99. Broad steadies himself and then carries those shadows with him. There he goes and bowls, and Hope allows that to go through outside the off stump. And so there's no run. Rather mixed fortunes in the Hope household. I think Mr. and Mrs. Hope were a bit grumpy when Kyle was run out backing up. Especially when Brathwaite should have been caught anyway. It was a drop catch, went into the stumps, and he was run out backing up for naught.
Oh, I don't think you would have caught that, though.
No.
It was a very difficult one.
Welcome back to our long wave listeners. We've got Shai Hope still on 99 not out. He's on strike. And Stuart Broad is bowling to him from the Kirkstall Lane end here at Headingley. West Indies need 47. In goes Broad. Bowls. Oh, he's an inside edge into pad. They're going to get a single, though, as Broad there started to appeal. And Shai Hope reaches his second 100 of the match. And he creates history. No other batsman has done this, not simply in Test cricket, but even in first-class cricket. In 534 first-class matches here, no batsman has ever scored 200s in the game. But this young 23-year-old from Barbados has done it. And what a fabulous innings too. The crowd are perhaps a little bit slow to realise they were looking at the possible appeal there for leg before wicket, but it did hit him on the pad, but it was an inside edge into that pad. Well played. 175 balls hit 13 fours. And he's seeing his team here through to victory. 46 more needed.
Terrific performance, that. Terrific. I mean, creates a lot of history, just Headlingley. He's had some fantastic history, some historical moments here. That's one of them.
It just didn't seem likely either at the start of this game.
It's been up and down and roundabout. They've been up on top and then down.
Look at Blackwood's field here. Well, it had been illegal one-day fielding. Goes Broad, bowls to Blackwood. He gives himself a bit of room and shovels that into the leg side. Big gap. So they've got a long on who'll field this. Running round to his right, deep mid-wicket. With a long leg. Third man, deep point. And a long off. So in a one-day game, he probably had to have a fine leg up, I suppose, or something. But
you've got to get him out, Jonathan. He'll win the game for him. He'll take it away from him. I mean, I know Hope's won it by the 100, but now, with this 50 to get, or he'll take it away quickly. You have to get him out, otherwise it's a goner very quickly. He's going to play shots.
278 for 4. It's 44 needed now for the West Indies, with Blackwood on 20. And Broad on his way in. Bowls now, and Blackwood gets a beauty. Woof, that reared outside the off stump from the full length. Just a reminder that this is the new ball, and that was certainly a terrific delivery. 278 for 4. What do England do? Well, they need wickets. They've got to try and create pressure through bowling maidens. They're up against it here.
I think I'd like another slip. If they get a nick, somebody's got to catch it. Well, you're not going to save the game with Blackwood there. No, you cannot save the game. No. You know, if they're just going to knock them off. You've got to get them out.
Yeah, I agree. You take a new ball, you've got to back it up with some attacking fielders. Here's the last ball of the over. 44 needed. Broad runs in, bowls, and he leans back here, steers that, but quickly it goes to backward point. And that's the end of the over. So we've witnessed some history there. And well played, Shai Hope. 100 not out. I think this is being announced over the PA now. But a wonderful stat from Andrew. I don't know how many hours burning the midnight oil it took to come up with that statistic, Andrew. But well done for finding that out. It's one of those little quirky ones. But you know, when you think of all those games, 534, all the amazing batsmen who've played here all their careers, some only just passing through, Don Bradman and the like. But no one here until this young man today have managed to score 200s in the same game. More from you, Andrew. Jeffrey's around, and then Simon's coming in.
It's the 12th time that West Indians scored 200s in a Test match, and the 4th against England. 2 of those by George Headley and 1 by Gordon Greenwich. 175 balls, 13 fours, 276 minutes.
That's just against England.
Against England, the 4 against England. Yeah.
Right, 14 overs left, 44 to win. West Indies have 6 wickets.
You could knock them off, couldn't you? The way you played in now, a special 60th anniversary match, winning runs.
Well, what I'd be hoping is that the light stays okay. It's very gloomy out there. It almost feels like a day-night Test match. Outside the off stump, there's no stroke from Hope, and that's through to Bairstow. It's amazing, isn't it? That, you know, if they did come off a bad light, and a week ago we were playing a day-night Test match, it's just
no, they won't. But surely. I saw Jonny Bairstow one ball from Stuart Broad. He didn't pick it up very well. I saw him and he got it and rolled over and so forth. I saw him. But you've got to stay on.
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? But I mean, if this were the second day, I bet they'd be off here, you know.
For the good of the game, you've got to stay on, whoever wins. I think
Hope waits, Anderson bowls to him, and he drives through the offside for 4. Doesn't time it perfectly. The ball's going to hit the rope now. Oh, he's just slowing up. It's just got enough on it. It does slow up on that lush part of the square out towards the boundary in front of the West Stand, but it had just enough on it, and it's 40 to win. And West Indies are moving towards, it would seem, an incredible victory.
It's not doing as much as it did this morning, actually, when Anderson bowled. It's bounced a bit more. Stuart Broad made it bounce. It hasn't done as much.
Anderson is bowling his 24th over of this innings. He bowled 3 last night, so 21st over of the day. Anderson moves in, bowls to Hope with 2 slips in. He lets that one go by. There's still plenty of time for West Indies, just about staying in, and if the light stays like this and the umpires are happy, they'll be fine.
And actually, it never looks as if he's doing as much when you keep smacking it to the boundary.
Well, what a brilliant achievement from Shai Hope. Only 23 years of age. He was talked as a promising,
played against us his first
promising
test,
player.
213, did he? 215. the first test. I remember him talking about him, the Barbadians.
Anderson bowls to him. That's clipped away through mid-wicket for 1, possibly 2. A sliding save. Well, that's definitely going to be 2 because the sliding save knocked the ball away from the fielder. And a comfortable 2 in the end. It was Stokes going away to his right-hand side. Well, if he can't prevent 2, then no one can. So 38 to win. And the only thing you'd probably say about this final day is that we're probably not going to have that, 10 to win, 2 wickets left sort of drama. I mean, they played too well for that, these two. Blackwood and Hope, and before them Chase and Brathwaite. Brathwaite out for 95. Chase for 30. Mason Crane, I think, getting in the frame for the champagne moment with a brilliant diving catch while he was on the field as a sub. Anderson goes in to bowl to Hope. He's with him now, and Hope is forward, playing that calmly, carefully, up towards Broad, still wearing his sun hat on this gloomy late August day. And he picks it up, and there is no run. There's still 13 overs left in the day's play after this. David Day in Ackworth, West Yorkshire, says that Root's first duty was to ensure that England could not lose the series, and having done so by at least drawing the current match, seek to lead the side to victory in the final game.
I'm not
the
sure.
Declaration, late, August the 28th, was ill-advised. Here is Anderson bowling. That's forced away. It's a lovely-looking shot. Beautiful shot again from Hope. Goes to cover, and there is no run. It's the end of the over. 38 more needed for victory, and 13 overs available. 284 for 4.
It's a view. If you hold that view, then you're entitled to it. But me, I'm for going for victory. I think it's been great for the game. It'll do wonders for West Indies cricket. It'll do wonders for the game of cricket, that it's been so competitive and it's ebbed and flowed. I mean, many times West Indies have been on top, but then England have fought back, particularly yesterday afternoon and evening, and then they've done well today. So, I mean, you can't. It's too good for the game to be blaming people.
But I mean, it's an interesting point, and a
it's
valid
entitled
point,
to
isn't
that
it?
point. If winning is everything, if it's the only thing, what was that famous saying when the guy who in the NFL, it's up there from the Green Bay Packers, isn't it? Winning's not everything; it's the only thing. Vince Lombardi Trophy.
Broad bowls to Blackwood, and Blackwood tries to force him into the onside, hits it straight back to the bowler who stops the ball. I mean, one thing I would say, take you back to your career. If you'd been England captain and you're now Joe Root out there, you'd be feeling inside, wouldn't you? You'd be thinking, I probably should have batted on last night. Wouldn't you? I mean,
you will, but then they wouldn't have gone for him. We wouldn't have had a day like today. They wouldn't have got another 30 runs, would they?
But you wouldn't have been thinking that as England captain, would you? You'd be thinking, oh no, I've given them an opportunity after we fought back so well.
You do in hindsight if you're going to lose, but I mean, you have to go back to when he declared. Was it enough? Yeah, it was a pretty good total.
Blackwood on 20 faces. Broad, he gives himself some room and he thick edges this down to third man. How did he get it down there? Moeen's sending in the return to Bairstow. Here's an email from Mike Vimpany, I think is how you pronounce his surname, and just on the Mason Crane catch, he says, guys, this might be of interest. Mason Crane played in goal for Lancing College while he was a student there. Well, it was a goalkeeper-like catch. It was a brilliant effort, and it gave England some hope for a while. Chase out for 30, but Blackwood has come in and smeared the ball around. 21 from 27 balls, and West Indies only need 37 to win now. It's Hope on strike. He's still got the 2 slips in, 3 saving one on the offsides, a mid-on, deep mid-wicket, fine leg, and a third man. Broad running in, making shadows. That's edged and dropped again by Cook at slip. It's the second one he's dropped today. Broad stands in the middle of the pitch with his hands on his hips, and Cook's let another one go. It was hit hard, and it's not that, the light's not that good, and it goes down.
Well, one of those points, I was going to make the point that the opening batsman was dropped this morning, wasn't he?
On 4.
Brathwaite, on 4.
Yeah.
And he made 90 plenty. So
5.
ifs and buts, as I always say, if that's caught, then maybe they don't get anywhere near. And, you can't tell that's a game of cricket, but 320 odd to make, it's quite a performance, isn't it?
It was a brilliant performance from West Indies, no doubt about that.
And do you want people to take a chance? Do you want all these people who've loved a day's cricket, do you want them to enjoy that or a tedious draw?
Broad bowls, and there's a a pull shot. I thought for a moment Bairstow, after he leapt up and caught that, was going to then throw it in the air. It was a risky top edge. Broad bowling a quick delivery. Just seeing a close-up on him from the previous delivery. It was a loud bellow of no after Cook dropped that.
I'll tell you what the answer is. What is 6,000, 5,000 people here, maybe 4 or 5. If we could ask them all, would you prefer a day like today, even if England lose, or would you prefer them to get another 30 runs, have a tame draw today for your £10? Which would you prefer? I think more people would vote for a wonderful day's cricket.
Broad bowls, and this time he does swat it away into the onside for one. They're going to look for two. I don't think it's there. Fielder closing in from the deep forward square leg boundary, right over the bails to Bairstow. I think that's is that Woakes down there? Anyway, 286 for 4.
If West Indies had just been batting for a draw, I don't think we'd have bowled them out anyway. Because I said to you before, in the morning there's a bit in the pitch as it went through and moved when Anderson and Broad were bowling. But the afternoon is for batsmen when they get in. I mean, they've looked comfortable, haven't they? With the ball goes softer. It doesn't zip, and when it turns, Moeen hasn't got anybody out. There's been oohs and ahs, but they've kept it out. 6 men on the boundary for Blackwood. Broad bowls to him. That's clipped away into the onside. It was not a good delivery from Broad. It's down to fine leg. It's only a single. I think they're hoping that Blackwood will self-destruct and play a big shot and be caught on the boundary. He gets a single there. It's 35 to win. And West Indies inching closer, 6:10. Lights beaming down. It's a bit like one of those day-night, one-day internationals at the end of the season. Well, we're going to get a few of those, aren't we? The series starts on about the 20th of September and finishes on the 29th down in Southampton, a game down there. 287 for 4. But on we go. I haven't seen the umpires look at their light meters. No one wants that. No, they won't. Here's one from Neil Foles. So would Jeffrey agree with such a declaration? 1 up with 2 to play in the Ashes. Good question. Yeah. If it's me in the Ashes, a 5-test match series, no. I would want to win the series. I think England are better than West Indies. I think they would. I could give you a number of issues about England this test match, although it's been thrilling and exciting. If you want to put their hand up, they haven't in areas bowled or batted very well. They haven't caught very well. I mean, they must have put down about 6 catches all told. And they're better than that. They're usually pretty good, aren't they? I mean, Woakes has been under the weather. I mean, he's 80 miles an hour, 77 miles an hour. Hasn't been very good. Moeen's going to bowl. With 35 needed, 12 overs available. And it's Blackwood who might just look to put him over the rope here, but there are 5 men on the boundary. And there's a single from just about wherever he likes. Is he going to play the big shot? Moeen goes in and bowls to Blackwood. Yes, he is going to play the big shot. He sighs it away towards deep point. They go for 1, and they think about coming back for the second. The throw's wide to Bairstow, but it's backed up by Stoneman, and so no damage done. Woakes was onto that one. But I mean, that's not good cricket, really, from Blackwood. And there's a single whenever he wants. He just needs to knock it into a gap and take 1. He could get 2, actually. He can't think like you. He just wellies it. But even in this situation, you don't give it away. That's exactly what England want him to do. Day. I would say things have gone a little bit for them, and they've deserved it. Hope on 107 faces Moeen, and that's brushed away towards forward square leg, stopped by Stoneman, and there's no run. For Hope, there's a slightly more defensive field. The players are up. There's 4 inside a notional circle, 5 inside the circle with a slip. Moeen bowls. Hope is stumped, is he? There's an appeal for a stumping. And they're going upstairs. He goes for a big heave. And Bairstow takes off the bails. And Hope is in peril here.
Can we start with the front foot, please?
This could be out. It was a quick one. I mean, England, they're not exuberant, but they might have their man here. He dragged a bit, didn't he? So
Thank you. That's a fair delivery. Your best angle, side on.
He was certainly reaching for it, as if he just overreached a fraction.
Oh, no, I think he's going to be OK. Just seeing the replay.
He stretched a long way there.
Thank you. The foot is down.
Well done, lad, to get your foot back there. He was really stretching to hit that.
Thank you. I have a decision for you. My decision is not out.
Yeah, clearly not out. His toe is clearly behind the line, but it was another huge heave. It looks as if he risked his wicket there, but he's OK. It's 34 to win and still 6 wickets in hand.
Would you have declared? 320 odd?
No, I
You'd
wouldn't.
have just kept batting
Yeah, I'd have batted
all night.
I'd have declared close the play. I said 8 more overs.
I was
Whack it, get 360, and then say have a full day tomorrow.
I was downstairs.
Because
when I
I'll tell you
was
why,
asked that.
Jeffrey. I'll tell you why. Because you've worked so hard to get back in the
Not
game.
to give it away.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Give it. That would be my own feeling, and I said it last night as well. Here is Moeen bowling, and that's miscue into the offside, and there's no run. I take your point about. It's fantastic.
I wasn't
today.
for it or against it. I was asked by two players, ex-players like me, about what they wanted to have a go, nip a wicket out. I said I don't mind either way, back to the close or declare.
Moeen bowls. That's played up towards long on for a single, but that's not to say that. Today's not been fantastic, and it's not fantastic for cricket, and it will be brilliant for West Indies cricket, brilliant for cricket in general.
All the spectators, all our listeners, they could have had a tedious day just playing out a draw, maybe.
289 for 4, 33 to win. And Blackwood goes back and forces that into the onside towards straight mid-on. Oh, sorry, wide mid-on. There's no run. It's the end of the over, so 33 to win, 11 overs remaining.
I was just reminding somebody, it's one of those things, you can have your own opinion. When Richie Benaud said to me, played in the Tide Test, and he was captain, Joe Solomon ran the man out, Tide Test. Richie, chairman of selectors, was Don Bradman, great, genius batsman. And he said to him, Richie, just one more run, and he said, no, best thing for cricket, Don said. Best thing for cricket, not Australia winning. And it's how you see it. It's not right or wrong. I don't have any great feelings one way or other, but I wouldn't.
I tell you the
I
other
wouldn't
thing.
criticise him for 320 odd.
No. The only other thing I thought as well is that if you perish those last 2 wickets, play a few big shots and perish, and then the whole thing about declaration goes out the window, doesn't it? If you get out.
But they didn't look like getting out. Yesterday, they were never going to get out. They were smacking it everywhere.
Once you get 320 ahead, you've worked so hard.
I know. Look, I don't have any one way or the other, but I can't complain. It's a splendid day's cricket.
Absolutely.
And good for cricket and good for West Indies cricket.
Absolutely. Broad bowls outside the off stump. There's no stroke from Hope, and it is through low to the wicket. I was talking to James Taylor about this earlier, and James was saying, and you probably wouldn't be of this mind because you had that mind that that you could bat out the last day. But he said he felt that when there's no chance of winning, it can actually be harder because you have to have a defensive mindset. It can make you defensive, and you don't play your normal game, and suddenly I don't know, you scored 5 in 45 minutes or something, and you feel you should be scoring, and you get out because of that, or you can have more men round the back with the spinner bowling, and there's more latitude for the spinner as well.
I felt if England were going to win, it would take them a long day because I've seen Headlingley before. I know how it goes. It's the ball that goes soft. And then you've seen how Moeen's turned it a great deal, but they've kept jabbing down on it. They've had time to play it, even to get a thick edge on it. And when they've nicked it, bat and pad, it hasn't gone to the short leg. It doesn't carry. It's easier to play the spinner. That's why Swanee, behind me, is the only one in 27 tests that's got 5 wickets. This just doesn't happen.
Delay while England sort out the field. The man going back on the deep cover boundary. It's Hope on 108 facing Broad. 4 men back in all. Broad bowls to Hope, who drives, and he finds that man on the deep cover boundary and takes a single. West Indies not far away now. And they've got plenty of time. 10.5 overs thereabouts, and they need 32 to win, and they've got 6 wickets in hand. They haven't had to really extend themselves today. The run rate was a relatively gentle one. What they have had to do is play with skill and great mental strength, which they've done. Work hard all day, and they look as if they're going to get their reward in what would be a sensational result if it is to happen. Broad back at his mark. Scattered for Blackwood. Is he going to play another extravagant shot? Broad goes into bowl to him. No, he just nudges it away. That's good cricket. Not risking his wicket there out towards Woakes on the deep square leg boundary, who fires in the return to Bairstow. And one more run to the total. 291 for 4. 31 more required for victory. Jeffrey's gone. Graham Swan is here.
Hello, Simon. Good evening, everybody. What a game of cricket. What a good advert for 5-day cricket as well.
It's been a brilliant match.
And what unbelievable from Shai Hope as well. First man ever in first-class cricket to get 100 in both knocks, which is incredible. Think of the brilliant players who've played for Yorkshire and England over the years down here. Moxon, Bourne, Root. Is it Jeffrey
It's all right,
still in or not?
he's gone. He's gone. There's no one to clip your ear. Broad bowls to Hope short. He ducks underneath it. He ends up on his backside there. I mean, if this were the second day and Broad bowled a ball like that and Hope ended up on his backside, then the umpires would look at each other and go, "Oh, is it like meter time?"
Well, it's going to get awkward for them. If I was from the ICC with Test cricket sort of on the demise around the world, around the globe, I'd get on the line and say to the fourth umpire, you keep them out there by hook or by crook. If it's pitch black, if they're positively glowing under the lights by the end, keep them on. Because England, obviously, Stuart Broad again, his take-off now, he's got the groundsman back on. They're trying to let the gloom come in, and the umpire said, look, it's too dark. But you've got to keep playing for the good of the game. And I'm an England fan. I want England to win this game. I don't want them to lose. But even if it means the win is winning, so be it. Keep them out there.
The only thing I would say about that is that England twice have had situations in the past. Notably, I think more Abu Dhabi than the Ashes game when Michael Clarke declared, because that was a sort of artificial finish.
Yes.
Yeah. But Abu Dhabi, they'd worked so hard to get themselves a relentless game that for over 5 days.
Yes.
And it was a similar situation to this. They wanted about 20
absolutely.
to win. They had, I don't know how many wickets they had left, but they had enough wickets left to win the game. But they were probably 8 minutes away from victory.
Yes, but I think now even more. Now it's so prevalent. Now the talk is so much about how do we save Test cricket.
Yeah,
you've got to make common sense come into it somehow. It's getting a bit brighter now, I think.
31 to win. They've sorted out that patch. Broad goes in and bowls, and that's played slightly up a sheet. Back down the pitch. Broad picks up and then shapes to hurl at the stumps and holds on to it, because the batsman Hope is back in his crease, and Broad certainly doesn't want to miss the stumps and send the ball flying down to third man for 4 overthrows. 31 more required. 10 overs left after this one. 6 wickets left.
Just looking out the window, it's not going to get any brighter. So the umpires have got to be brave. I think you've got to let common sense for the good of the game come into it.
It's a horrible situation to be in as an umpire. They're probably thinking, well, should we be out there? But there's been no thought or conversation about it would seem. Broad bowls short, dabbed away into the offside. They're off a quick single towards cover, just the left of cover, and they get it as well. It's one of those, you think, oh, hold on a minute, that's tight. But in a one-day game, you wouldn't think twice about taking a single there. 30 to win, 10 overs left, 6 wickets in hand. More from you, Graham, and then it will be Daniel.
Of course, in the old days, it came down to the batsman who always had the choice. The umpires would go to them and say, do you want... we offer you the light, and they could say, no, we're fine, we'll carry on. Hence England's victory in Pakistan years ago in virtually midnight when they finished. Dan, I know you've got a brilliant idea that you thought I'd poo-poo outside, but I actually agree with you wholeheartedly.
Well, you should
sell it to the nation.
Wholeheartedly, you should agree with Angela, the fan I was talking to downstairs. Because we were talking about that they might come off a bad light, and she was horrified by this suggestion. She said that cannot possibly happen, surely. Surely they wouldn't do that. As Moeen Ali prepares to start a new over to Shai Hope from the football ground end. And has worked into the onside. They're going to come through for a quick single. They'll make it. Just another 29 more runs required to win. And she said, which I think is a brilliant idea, why don't they just give them a pink ball?
Swap the balls over.
Swap the balls over. The lights are on. If it's overtaken natural light, you've got a box of balls that already...
of equivalent age.
It's Moeen Ali bowls again. That's been hammered out to deep mid-wicket, and it's going to bounce in front of Ben Stokes. Is that out there? I think it is.
It is. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Single.
I think one of the other reasons what I was just talking about, if you go off a bad light with floodlights on a week after having a floodlit test match, it just makes the game look ridiculous.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's a genius idea. When she first said it, the ball's worked into the onside to mid-wicket, and there's no run. My first thought was, you can't do that, can you? And then I thought, well, of course you can.
I don't see any downfall to it, to be honest.
And we've got to retain Test cricket, as Moeen Ali is in once more. Has whipped away off the back foot, but straight to short square leg. 28 more runs required for victory after that dot ball. 9.2 overs remain. Hope on strike on Nelson on 1-1-1. Having achieved that incredible feat of 2 centuries in the match. In comes Moeen, and that's tickled fine. It's going to run away down to the boundary. It's going to be 4. 4 more to the West Indies. They're getting ever closer to what would be an epic. It is buys. An epic victory this would be. I mean, they've been on top for most of this game. You'd say that they deserve it, but last night, you wouldn't have thought this was going to happen.
Amazing, isn't it? And that brought up the 50 partnership of 70 balls.
Thank you. Thank you. And one thing I do want to say, though, because before long, I can feel Fazir hovering, and he's got to be brought in for the denouement of this match, what looks to be a certain West Indies win.
No, you've just said that. There is a twist in this tale, trust me.
Yes. Moeen bowls, and that's clipped away, straight to short square leg. End of the over, 9 remain, 298 for 4. Hope has 111, Blackwood has 25. One thing I want to say is, though, that if I sincerely hope that England are getting the gardeners out to do the gardening, because it's a real problem for the bowler. Because
we don't know, so let's not focus on it. We know what they're doing. It's kidology. I mean, the field inside will try anything now to, get things back in their favour. But accept that. That's how it is. That's why West Indies time wasted all those years ago when David Capel was batting on Ian Bishop. Time wasted. That's
cricket's
the game.
in crisis.
It is
the point.
And I'd say don't hope for that. You've got guys out there desperate not to lose. But what I'm saying is 24 runs and 9 overs, a piece of cake. Walk in the park. Still got 6 wickets. A couple of wickets here or there, a couple of maidens, you'd be amazed at how big that total starts to look to the new men coming in. There's a twist in this tale. I know it. I've played enough cricket, I've seen enough cricket to know that this is not going to finish 4 down. Something's going to happen.
You've heard it here first from Nostra Swan. We'll find out if he is a Nostra Swan or not as time passes. Blackwood's on strike. It's always fun when Blackwood's on strike. A message was sent out to Blackwood, we believe, by the coaching staff, because I could see them
slogging.
Stop slogging, exactly. And apparently he did stop slogging for 2 overs. Yeah. And then forgot the message and went again. Long on and long off a back as Broad is in, and he's given himself room, and Broad's followed him in classic one-day fashion and played the ball back to the bowler, who then pretends to throw and doesn't. So this field is most curious and extraordinary. Given that the West Indies require fewer than 3 runs and over, we've got a long leg, a deep square leg, a long on, a long off, a fine third man and a deep extra cover. So 6 men on the boundary, 1 slip, a point and a mid-off. I mean, all Blackwood needs to do is put it onto the onside for a single.
Exactly what I said. That doesn't go through your head at this moment. He's thinking, right, we're not getting boundaries. We need boundaries. We need to do this quickly. Just trust me. Pressure's a crazy, crazy thing.
The crowd are getting whipped up now as Broad starts in his run from the Kirkstall Lane end into Blackwood, who's facing, and he's played that, guided it down to the boundary for 4. He's got that fine enough past sort of vacant second slip. He moves to 29, 302 for 4, 20 more runs required for victory. They're so close, they can taste victory. It'll be a victory that keep the Wisden Trophy alive. Don't forget, it'll be 1-all going to the final game at Lords if they make it.
Trust me, it'd be a brilliant win for the West Indies, but more for cricket.
Yep.
For the whole thing, for 5-day cricket, for Test cricket. This is why I'm desperate for them this line not to become an issue. I think common sense is prevailing. The umpires just keep ignoring.
It looks like it because it's so dark. If you're out there and the lights are definitely taken over from natural, like we see 4 shadows.
Look, the batsman can see the ball, the fielders can see the ball, so I'm happy with it.
Blackwood faces up, gets one on the pads, it's squared it away fine. It's going to run down to the boundary. 4 more. 4 more, 16 required for victory. Oh, hang on. Dead ball for not playing a shot because it came off the pad. And Blackwood,
this is ridiculous.
Teapotting here because it looked to me like he played a shot.
No, well, what he's done, he's tried to get out of the way of the ball. This is an evasive
manoeuvre.
Just because it's not trying to hit him on the head, it's gone down. Well, he's definitely tried to push it. And it's actually hit his leg. Yeah, it's hit his leg. He's gone to whip it. Refer it. You can't say that's a no straight. I mean, this is ludicrous. It's going down the leg side. He's toppled over. He's hit his front pad. The ball's hit his back pad and gone for 4. That's a remarkable decision.
If he played the same shot and it hit him outside the off stump and there's a appeal for LBW, would he be given out for not playing a shot, do you think? I wonder. As Broad is into Blackwood again. Just the 1 slip in, and he works this away sensibly into space on the onside. They'll get 2 for this. They will, and a comfortable 2, and that was an intelligent, sensible shot from Blackwood. Takes the Windies to 304 for 4, 18 more for an epic, epic victory.
Right, and now it's down to 18 to win. Just trust me on this, when Moeen Ali bowls the next over, you will see 2 or 3 big attempts to hit the ball out of the ground.
Yep.
Because it's down, it's tangible now. We could do it in this over. Spinners on. Oh, let's just do it. We've only got 8 overs left. Ooh.
Broad is into Blackwood. Gets on the short ball and she uppercuts down to third man for 6. That's gone all the way to Boundary for 6 and he pumps his fists. What a magnificent shot that is.
Well, that was Shai Hope at the non-striker's end, pumping his fist, absolutely made up. That just shows how much the Windies want to do this, want to do it quickly. Quite a quick bounce from Stuart Broad, wide of the off stump. Brilliant uppercut from Blackwood. There's a third man posted a few yards off the line. It's Moeen.
Oh, if he'd been on that line.
Had he been on the line, he may have had a chance to catch it. He jumped up one hand in the air in vain. Let's just see where this bounces. Had he been on the line, he could have taken a catch head height. So
always told as a kid, stay on the line, stay on the line.
Stuart Broad's seen the replay and he's livid with Moeen Ali. What are you doing off the line? It's a short boundary.
He's had an angry kind of day,
yes.
Stuart Broad. I don't think we want to be talking to him after the close of play.
I don't think he'll be put up for the press, if I'm honest.
310 for 4, 12 more to win, 8 overs and 1 ball. Blackwood on strike, he has 37. He's facing Broad now in the dark and he drives a full ball straight to short extra cover. That is the end of the over. The West Indies required 12 for an extraordinary victory, a comeback victory after where they were at Edgbaston. It seems absolutely impossible, and so it only seems right that the man who should call it comes on air. Fazir Mohammed.
Thanks very much, Dan. Yeah, well, what can you say? It's about one of the more remarkable transformations in the history of Test cricket. I mean, we've seen so much Test cricket over the years. Who would have believed?
Nobody.
Even with the clear accommodation of the situation with the light, which would not apply in a different situation, that the West Indies would be on the verge of getting 322 on the last day, 300 runs on the last day to beat England for the first time in 17 years in England, as he's reaching on the front foot to the first delivery off a new over from Moeen Ali. A couple of runs here for Shai Hope, who's had the match of his life, and if he has anything better than this for the next 15 or 16 years of his career, it'll have to be something truly outstanding.
It is an amazing transformation, and it's almost amazing enough that some sort of song will be written about it, or calypso or something. And I think I'm sat next to the man. By this time next week, I expect a full calypso number from you, Fazir.
Here comes Moeen to bowl to Hope, and he's playing defensively back along the pitch. He's on a 113. Blackwood is 37. It's 312 for 4. Kraigg Brathwaite 95 and a partnership of 144 with Hope. And the West Indies just 10 runs away from a famous victory as he plays the next delivery away towards square leg. There is no run. 312 for 4. The West Indies, since Edgbaston 2000, when they won inside 3 days, have gone 18 test matches. This is the 19th where they have not won. They've lost 15 of those test matches. As he's on the front foot, driving on the onside of the pitch, they're picked up by the bowler himself. And the way they capitulated, 19 wickets in 1 day in Birmingham. Many people were saying they should bring the team back home because they're so terrible. They're the worst ever to come to England. As Moeen bowls to Hope and he's playing it away square on the offside. No run towards backward point. It's 312 for 4 with 1 ball left in the over.
Absolutely. The transformation's amazing. Mother Cricket, I'll tell you, the script writers up there in the sky, they know how to get some drama out of this game.
And with 7 catches dropped, look, Toby Radford is shaking his head as if he can't believe it. He's the batting coach for the West Indies as Hope plays the last delivery of the over into the onside. The Englishman, Toby Radford, he's sitting there shaking his head in disbelief that the West Indies are actually on the verge of pulling off one of the more famous victories in even their own storied career. 10 more to win with 7 overs to go, 6 wickets in hand.
I think he was hoping that Blackwood would be on strike there because he knows that Blackwood would have teed off against Moeen Ali. Tried to hit a couple of sixes. There's a bowling change now. Stuart Broad's had his last go for the game. And Chris Woakes, well, you've absolutely got nothing to lose as the bowler now. You might as well try something crazy, try something new, have a word with the skipper. Right, look, I'm going to go for this magic ball I've never even practiced, but I'm going to give it a crack. Do something. The game's already as good as lost, so try something crazy. Try and become the new Ian Botham.
This would be absolutely remarkable if he were to be able to do anything to make it even remotely exciting from an England point of view, because the West Indies have this game won. The umpires are not going to stop the match for light. The light has taken over the natural light a long time ago. That is going to create a discussion when the time comes for another sort of situation in the second day of a test match or the fourth day somewhere else. People say, well, look what they did at Leeds. Is it only when, in the context of the match, the umpires will use this sort of discretion?
You never know. A common sense law might be brought in. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Well, the lawyers will hate it, I can tell you that. Well,
the law and common sense, you're saying they don't go hand in hand?
You're not serious, are you, Graham? Okay, long off in place. 10 runs needed to win. Jermaine Blackwood, is he going to try to finish this match off in glory in this over? Or is Chris Woakes going to have a say to this? A slip in place. Blackwood waits on Woakes. Bowles still now backing away and looking to slash, and in fact he's too little a man to reach that one as it was pitched wide of the off stump and lets it go through to the keeper.
Well, had he stayed where he was, he could have slashed this over point for 4. A bit of swing from Chris Woakes, so just expect Shai Hope's gone down the other end just to say to him, I think, just calm down, calm down. You've got 6.5 overs to get these 10 runs. Don't leave it to anyone else. You and I are finishing this game.
Joe Root, you can remember all that was said about him being captain after the 340-run loss to South Africa in Nottingham. You know it's going to be analysis paralysis for the next week and a bit before the final test begins at Lord's. And who would have thought the series would have been 1-1 going into the final test match at Lord's in a week on Thursday.
We've had a fielding change. Fine leg's been brought up now. Goes to a short square cover. About 15 yards from the bat, just in front of square.
There goes Woakes. Bit of a slow hand clap from the fans here as he bowls and he's backing away, pulling, missing, past the off stump, through to the keeper. The West Indies here, whatever else happens, they've shown some grit, they've shown some guts, they've shown some character. They've had quite a bit of fortune going their way on this final day. Kraigg Brathwaite dropped on 4. Shai Hope dropped again, also by Alastair Cook, who might argue about the issue with the lights at this stage. Hope had already gone past the 100.
If there's one person on the field who'll realise the bigger picture, it'll be Alastair Cook. He won't make excuses for that. He should have caught it, and he didn't.
Standing there at first slip again as Woakes bowls them very wide outside the off stump. That's going to be called a wide to add to the tally of wides in this test match. And we've seen quite a few. So 9 more needed for the West Indies.
This was so wide. It actually missed the return crease. It was almost a wide on the next pitch as well. Andrew?
19 wide extras and 15 balls, wide balls, and one that went for 4.
Is that sort of a test record?
No.
Some distance away.
34 is the most in a test.
Here goes Woakes. Bowls to Blackwood and he's off the back foot, punching it away out to deep cover just for the single. He moves on to 38. Hope back in strike on 113. And what a match for Shai Hope to announce his arrival to international cricket. 8 more needed, 6.3 overs, averaging 18 in 11 test matches before this. When many people said, yes, he's looking the part, but he's not scoring runs. How long can you continue with him with a losing West Indies team?
Well, he's got himself another 10 test matches out of this. Joe Root now has to attack, I think. He has to bring in the deep men. Say, look, if it goes for 4, it goes for 4. We need to take wickets, get 2 or 3 slips in.
Woakes bowls to Hope, short of a length, and he's tucking this one away. Forward a square, another run. They're getting them in singles like Hurst and Rhodes, but without all the drama of 1882. 7 more needed. And 315 for 4. I think I'm coming up with a bit of a few lines for a calypso for you.
You've got the ideas. They're swirling around your head, aren't they?
Cricket, lovely cricket. At Leeds where I saw it. Cricket, lovely cricket. At Leeds where I saw it. Joe Root tried his best. Holder won the test. With those 2 mates who could cope, Kraigg Brathwaite and Shai Hope. He's getting a good delivery on leg stump, turns it away. Backward a square for another run. 6 more needed to win. 316 for 4 with 6 overs to go. But yes,
something in there about the fading light and
that's going to come in the subsequent verses. Don't push me too hard, Swanee. I'm trying my best to appreciate something that I never thought I would see.
If you want me to book some studio time, we can get this sorted in the next week.
I'll sign you up. I'll sign you up as my agent, and we'll agree a fee. But
you're listening from Island Records. You're listening.
Here goes Woakes. Bowls on off stump, and he's on the back foot, punching it away towards mid-off. No run. So 6 overs to go, lots of time, lots of deliveries available, 316 for 4. Just 6 more needed to win. Is
Blackwood on strike.
looking to finish this
Moeen Ali
in the
bowling.
most emphatic manner possible.
You can bet your bottom dollar is the Pope Catholic. This is going to be a big swing at the first or second ball if I was a betting man. I'm sure Shai Hope saying to him, look, be cool, man, be cool. But, like I was saying, they've got to attack now, Joe Root. You can't just let them trickle there in singles. They're not going to go off for the light, as you say. Bring in your deep fielders now, or at least bring them to hover 3/4. Say, look, if you want to go for it, by all means, go for it, mate. But you're going to have to hit it cleanly.
So it's Moeen Ali, long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square leg. Jermaine Blackwood on strike. The West Indies need 6 more for a famous victory here at Leeds. Big heave out towards deep mid-wicket and caught. Dropped.
Stokes.
Dropped by Ben Stokes into the midriff and out. And just the single.
The best fielder on the pitch has fallen to the Headlingley curse. Been playing with a bar of soap this last 5 days, these fielders. Very simple. He won't want to see that again. Waist tight, clanged.
Moeen Ali now to Hope, who's on the back foot, playing it back up along the pitch. And in truth and fairness, even with the accommodation of the situation of the lights, which would probably not be playable in a normal test match in normal circumstances, the West Indies really weren't given a chance at the start of play with the conditions.
Oh, no.
As Moeen bowls to Hope, and he's turning it away back on the square for the single, so 4 more needed. So will Blackwood again this time look for the boundary?
He will.
318 for 4, because it was overcast. It was thought to be ideal for Jimmy Anderson to get the 3 wickets for 500.
Blackwood, some straight. He's calling for a new helmet or a new sweatband for his helmet.
Or does he want the cap? He wants to put on the West Indies cap. He wants to.
I think Shai Hope saying to him, "Stop it." I was just taking his helmet off. That's it. Just getting rid of the lid.
I think he wants a bit of style here. He wants the cameras to capture him, not in shadow, but to capture him in glory, hitting the winning boundary. As he waits on Moeen Ali now. Past the umpire, bowls to Blackwood, down the track, driving out to long off, just for the single. So 3 to get. The West Indies 319 for 4. But yeah, everything was pointing to an England win, at the very least a draw.
Absolutely.
Everything, the conditions, the quality of the bowling, the inexperience of the West Indies, chasing 317 on a final day. Moeen bowls to Hope, and he's turning it away out towards forward square for the single. Brings Blackwood back on strike. However else it goes, it's been a fantastic match for the West Indies, for Shai Hope. Twin 100, it's never happened in 127 years of first-class cricket at Headlingley. 534 matches that you've had twin centuries in the same first-class match. 2 to win as Moeen bowls to Blackwood down the track and stumped him. Getting him stumped, going for glory. It won't matter in the end, but Jermaine Blackwood departs. West Indies have lost their 5th wicket. They'll have to wait a while longer to complete this famous victory. A wicket for Moeen Ali.
A wicket for Ali. As sure as eggs are eggs, Blackwood was skimming down the wicket to this ball, nowhere near the pitch of it. Had he stayed in his crease, he'd have had another long hop and he could have hit it anywhere. But he's gone for a brilliant 41 in the circumstances, 45 balls. He's done as much as Shai Hope in this last session to win the game for the West Indies. He gets a very warm ovation from the Headlingley crowd, and that's absolutely deserved. The West Indies team on the balcony, they thought that might be it until he didn't get within 4 yards of the pitch of the ball and deservedly stumped. Very good glove work from Jonny Bairstow. Took it over the top of leg stump quite high and whipped the bails off. And now, who's this? Shane Dowrich.
Who lasted just 1 ball on the 3rd morning.
He's had a horror test match, hasn't
really
he? But
been a terrible time for him.
Could be there to hit the winning run.
He'll be the one if he does. With all of the historic images and the commentary and everything else. Well, he's having a word now with his fellow Barbadian. 7 from the island of Barbados in this West Indies team. And with all of the infighting and the insular arguments and the debates about selection and whatever else, it has really turned out to be a famous moment approaching for the West Indies.
All the fielders in now. 2 short covers, a ring field, 1 slip and a 3rd man. Just trying to save this single.
Chris Woakes with 2 to win, Shai Hope, it'll be fitting if he hits the winning runs
Absolutely.
to clinch the match,
I'm not sure
draw
there'll be
the series.
Too many arguments about man of the match with there.
End the barren run here in England. Here goes Woakes. Bowls to Hope, and he's on the front foot, pushing it away towards mid-off. No run again. But yeah, if you pinched yourself, had 2 swigs of rum or whatever it is, woke up the next morning and was told this happened, you would believe that it was just a bad dream or something that really doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense in the context of where the West Indies were a week ago.
Well, if they were English, they'd all get MBEs for this.
Here's Woakes as he bowls to Hope. It turns it
That's
away
it.
backward.
That's the game.
That's the winning hit.
That's the game.
The West Indies have pulled off a stunning victory here at Leeds. They've chased 322 to win a Test match in England for the first time in 17 years, in 19 matches. And after the abject humiliation of Birmingham, where they were throttled inside 3 days and given no hope whatsoever, well, it is a hope. Shai Hope, who's taken the West Indies to victory, an unbeaten 100, his second in this match. It's never happened before in the 127-year history of first-class cricket in Yorkshire, at Headlingley to be precise. And the West Indies and their fans here at the ground cannot believe that their team has pulled off such a famous victory by the comfortable margin of 5 wickets.
Shai Hope take a bow. I'm so glad it was him to score those winning runs. A lovely little flick off the hip that actually went for 4. So he finishes on 118, not out to go with his first innings. Andrew, I can't remember what he ended up with. 147. What a game for Shai Hope. Never been done at Headlingley in all first-class cricket. Brathwaite got so close. Shai Hope's the man who's going to lead the West Indies off. Fazir, you've got to talk us through this.
Yeah, well, as he comes off now and raises the bat, this is a young man who was highlighted on Barbados television as a 9-year-old, as someone as a bright talent. When he was asked the question as a 9-year-old, what does he hope to achieve? He said he wants to play for the West Indies. His dreams have come true. It started against England in Barbados with that victory inside 3 days. But now he's come good in the grandest possible fashion. 90 at Kensington Oval against Pakistan. But this performance over 2 innings in conditions where the West Indies weren't expected to have a chance, not just because of the match, the conditions, the opposition, but for the way they played in the first match in Edgbaston. And for Jason Holder, you really have to be happy for this young man.
Look at the size of the smile on his face. They're out there, the West Indies. They're just trying to soak it up. Jason Holder just looked at the skies. They just want to be on the field at Headlingley. They're arm-in-arm hugs all round. They're the happiest group I've ever seen. And from a cricketing point of view, from a Test cricket point of view, this is a heartwarming victory. It pains me to say that from an England perspective, but I'm glad this has happened. They've chased 322. The lights at the end. The 5-day cricket, absolutely brilliant. Well done, West Indies. Take a bow. That was simply amazing stuff.
And let me just say that I've been privileged to be here with the TMS team. I'll leave it with Simon and yourself, and we'll hear what the players have to say about it.
Actually, we're not going to stay much longer up here. I think Fazir will go down onto the outfield. We are going to join Aggers down on the outfield. He's got Michael Vaughan with him.
Indeed, here we are. The celebration's still going on in front of us. It's pretty nippy down here, but a lot of warmth in those hugs and smiles and embraces that are going on. Jason Holder's still got his pads on, of course. But what an extraordinary finish, with Shai Hope finishing 118 not out. West Indies winning by 5 wickets and with 5 overs to spare. In the gloom, I must say, it's pretty dark down here. Those of us who were at Edgbaston last week watching that day-nighter. But, hey, I don't think anybody could possibly complain about this. The umpires do have jobs to do, I think. Today they've done exactly the right thing. They've allowed common sense to prevail, the game to finish, and that has to be the most important thing. So, Michael, I wrote the West Indies off after Edgbaston. You wrote the West Indies off after Edgbaston. Curtly Ambrose wrote the West Indies off after Edgbaston. Everybody wrote the West Indies off after Edgbaston because they were awful. And you take the history into account. So all of that magnifies what they've done here over these last 5 days.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, I think we all should have a bit of humble pie for our desserts tonight when we get home. But I don't remember a turnaround, in my time playing the game, from particularly here in England. When you go away from home and you play well one week and, you can get outdone by anyone in the home conditions. But to see a West Indian team with no experience, a team that at Edgbaston just looked like they couldn't play the game. They didn't have any discipline. They didn't look like they had any techniques. You know, I think Shannon Gabriel added a lot to their side. I thought he brought pace, a bit of aggression. You know, Kemar Roach upped his game from what we saw at Edgbaston. The captain bowled that little bit better. He was tactically pretty good this game. But the two batsmen that I didn't think had the techniques and the mindset to be able to play such long innings in Brathwaite and Shai Hope in particular, you know, you have to think that from a week at Edgbaston to a week now, I've never seen a turnaround like that in sport. You know, I don't remember anything. I know Lincoln won at Burnley in the FA Cup last year. That was a huge shot, but I put this up there with one of the biggest shots. You're looking at an England side with Alastair Cook, Stuart Broad, Jimmy Anderson, Joe Root, Jonny Bairstow, Ben Stokes, high-class England side that are on the back of beating South Africa in English conditions, on a pitch and in conditions where the ball's been moving around, to be completely outthought and outplayed. And let's be honest, you know, the West Indies have caught the chances.
Yep.
This could have been a lot worse for England. I know England have dropped chances, but apart from the little...
7, Fazio reckons they put down.
And they did, I mean, and apart from a little bit that went the West Indies' way in the last couple of hours, throughout the whole Test match, every little moment seemed to go England's way. So it's a remarkable turnaround. Delighted for West Indies cricket. Stewie Law, the coach, you know, Johnny Graves, the new chief exec over there. They got pasted after at Edgbaston because of their performance, rightfully so, but they're going to get a lot of plaudits. They're going to get a lot of plaudits for this performance. I've got a very happy Faz next to me. He's smiling. Look at that.
I've known Fazio a number of years. I've never seen him run so quickly to come down here. And Joyce, you're on air a minute ago, up 5 floors up, Fazio. But my word, you've come roaring down here. I mean, and that's the question, isn't it? I mean, we can talk about the actual intricacies of the game in a moment and where it was won or lost and so on. But is this the result that the Caribbean has been waiting for? Is this victory over the old enemy, England, here at Headlingley on a dark, dismal afternoon? Is that going to be the spur that suddenly ignites the game again in the West Indies?
It could make a significant difference simply because of the fact that the West Indies have been beaten badly for so long, especially in England. And given the circumstances in which they've pulled this off and the way they've come back so remarkably, it could be. But there's a lot of things still to happen. But I think we're going to speak to one of the
we're going to speak to two. We've got Kraigg Brathwaite here and Shai Hope. Well, gentlemen, you come straight from the field of battle. Who are we going to start with? We're going to start with Shai. Do you know what record you've broken today?
I was just told I was the first man to score two centuries in a game. So.
Do you know how many games?
100 and something.
100? Try 500. 534.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't hear that digit, sorry.
Well, no, but it's extraordinary. I mean, I know these things sometimes take a long time to sink in, don't they? But that is, you think of all the wonderful players who have played here over the years, and you're the first now.
Yeah, I'm just pleased to get the win. That's the main thing, and not really studying the 200s. It's just to get us back in the series and look to push home.
Yeah. How was it out there? I mean, how was the light for a start? Because we're out here now. It's clearly not very good. Were you okay with it?
Yeah. I was battling for a period of time. You know, we had to get a win. So whether it's dark, if the lights blow up, we still got to go out and get the runs.
Yeah. And to turn things around, that's what we were talking about here. For your team to turn things around as you have done from Edgbaston to this, I don't think many people expected it, but you fellas obviously had belief. What's done it? What has been the key?
Yeah, we're Test cricketers for a reason. We know that we came here to play cricket, and we have the fight, we have the belief, we have the talented players to do it. So we just need to go out there and execute.
Well, you certainly executed today. Thank you very much. And you need a nice shower and a towel down. 534. You won't forget that number again. Now then, Kraigg, you just missed out. You could have got there first.
Yeah, a bit unlucky, but any day, thankful that we got a win.
Yeah, and you played so well. I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, you two, you must be thrilled with the way you've played. You've come to, you know, the seam centre of the planet where the ball moves around and England's bowlers usually dominate, and you've won the game.
But yeah, very, very happy. As a team, you know, we set about to come out and fight, and you know, look to win, and that's what we did.
Yeah. Were things that were said last week? I know your coach was unhappy with some of the criticism that was picked up. Is that something that's given you a bit of a focus for this match?
Well, yeah, that was motivating for us. You know, we heard a lot of things in the media, and you know, we just decided, you know, we're better than this. You know, we looked at ourselves in the mirror and came out and showed that we could play cricket.
Yeah. And you've won a match having dropped 7 catches. I mean, that seems remarkable as well. I know England dropped a lot too, but it's not often you win a test having dropped 7 catches.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen, but we did it today.
Yeah. What will this mean back home, Kraigg, and Shai as well? I'm going to ask both of you, both proud Bajans and everything else, and you know, everyone wants West Indies cricket to be strong. Can you picture the scene back home now and what people might be thinking about this?
Well, what we say, people will be very proud. You know, they wanted to see fight, and you know, that's what they saw. And a win in England, you know, it's very good for them. It will make them very happy.
Good. Shai, they all be happy over there?
Yeah, I'd hope they'll be happy. They want to see us back on the top, so this is a stepping stone. We just need to continue on this vein and try to get more wins on our belt.
It's been quite just a last thought, in the Hope family, a mixed day. Your poor brother run out backing up for naught, which is just the most horrible dismissal, and his brother goes and knocks off another 100.
Yeah, well, I believe everything happens for a reason, so...
You could tell him that.
It was a good reason today, I guess.
Okay. Well played, both of you. Thank you very much indeed. Really entertaining. Everyone's loved it. And good luck. There we go. And thanks for bringing them over too, by the way. Wow, what lovely young lads. Hey, terrific.
Yeah, well, maybe not a lot to say about it, but in the end, it's almost as we detect from Shai, there's a belief that he believes that this is where he belongs. He believes, for all of the averages of 18 and 11 test matches and another one of those who looks the part but doesn't deliver, he firmly believes that this is where he belongs. And to answer that question you asked before we brought them in, as to whether or not this could bring about the turnaround. Actually, the word turnaround is banned in West Indies cricket because we've been waiting for a turnaround for 22 years and it hasn't happened. But when you look at it cumulatively, Agas, when you Dubai, when they came close to chasing 364, England 2 years ago in Barbados, where they won inside 3 days, beating Pakistan in Sharjah, beating Pakistan in Barbados. We've talked about their poor record. This is only the West Indies' 4th victory in 20 years away from home against a team other than Zimbabwe or Bangladesh. Just their 4th victory. And 2 of them have come in the space of 10 months. So maybe there is something happening here with these young players. Even as we speak, and I just learned it, with all the talk about the test match, there's a sellout crowd gathering at Kensington Oval for a CPL match involving the Barbados Tridents against the Guyana Amazon Warriors. So there is interest in the CPL, but I can assure you, throughout the Caribbean, they'll be celebrating this victory, because even as they were agonizing in Birmingham over how poor their team is, how terrible their team is, how Courtney Brown should be gotten rid of, how it's a Bajan conspiracy, this, that and the other, they'll be celebrating like if none of that had happened.
And I hate to move it on already, but now they need consistency. I mean, if they go over to Lords and produce on the Birmingham, well, it'll be all back again, and your Calypso songs will have a rather sadder lilt to them.
Absolutely, and that is the key point. Carrying it forward, and the West Indies, from their perspective, if they want to be really taken seriously and say this as, okay, this might have been a fluke, England might have been off the gas because they felt the West Indies were easy meat. If they go to Lords and capitulate, then all of that talk will come back up. It's up to them now to go to the headquarters of the game, where many of them have dreamed of playing a test match. Remember, only 3 players in this squad have ever played test match cricket in England before this tour. Only 3 players. And so for them to be at the headquarters of the game with a series alive with the West Indies, they would have been toddlers when that last happened. Yeah. So it's amazing.
And I guess that's what makes this performance all the more remarkable. You know, you just mentioned, Fazir, that 3 players with the experience of playing test match cricket here in England. You know, I guess the pressure now goes, can they produce another... I think they've done enough this tour now. You know, to be able to... I'm not saying they don't just turn up at Lords, but they have surprised us all with a performance. And it just proves to me that, again, when you want to try and get back, you need individuals to suddenly just raise their game to a level that no one expected. Kraigg Brathwaite at the top, he already looks a solid player. He's got a decent record behind him, average 35, 36 coming into the series. So I kind of expected runs from him, but the young players in that middle order, Roston Chase and now Shai Hope, I have to say, from all the West Indian teams that I've played against here in England, I've played against quite a few, obviously Lara days, but he looks to me like he's got the game and the temperament and the technique. I mean, the ball was moving around this week. It was hooping around, it was spinning at times, it was seaming. He's up against, you could argue two of England's greatest in Broad and Anderson. And I'm not saying he played them with ease, but he played them with so much coolness and calmness, and a huge amount of pressure this afternoon. I thought Anderson got the ball in hand, and he was almost looking at his skipper and went, I'll deal with this, I'll deal with it. And those young players just went, we just got to hang in here, we've got to really fight it, just fight through this period, fight through this spell, and it will get easier. The maturity that they showed today, and I expect, and I think we all did at tea time when they needed 120 odd, I think we all thought, they'll lose a couple of wickets and they'll panic and there'll be a collapse. I don't think I've seen a last day chase so cool.
No. Here comes Joe Root. I think I'll end up talking to him in a second. We'll try and get there as soon as we can. I'm not sure what to ask him, really, because England, seriously, I mean, their performance here has been deeply disappointing. If we, again, take into account Edgbaston and everything else, this wasn't supposed to happen. Joe is coming here, and here we go into the dark. Hello, Joe. Well, what an extraordinary game of cricket.
Absolutely, very extraordinary. Very entertaining test match, I'm sure, to watch. Not so much to be involved in, but we just got to take it on the chin. I thought we took the positive option last night in declaring and giving ourselves a chance to win the game. And after the first 2 days, I thought we did extremely well to get in a position where we had that opportunity. And credit to the West Indies, who've played fantastic throughout this whole test match.
Yeah. A flawed game, and all these drop catches and so on. It's extraordinary. They've won a test match, having dropped 7 catches. It's been a really strange game.
It has been a very strange game, as you say, and that really did probably cost us today. But I think if we're being brutally honest, the first 2 days is where it really hurt us in this test match.
Yeah. Is it a lesson? I mean, I'm not saying that you guys were complacent. I'm sure you'll say that you weren't complacent either. But because the air around the place and us, as the media as well, is that the West Indies aren't very good. They got thrashed at Edgbaston. That's kind of the way they play these days. And you said, I think, the day before the game, it's another test match. You've got to take it seriously, and it is a lesson, isn't it? That anyone can come back and bite you.
Yeah, and at no point were we complacent. We looked at the conditions. It was spinning. It was a fifth day, and we took the positive option. We wanted to try and win the game. We're a positive side that wants to go on and try and win test matches. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do that today. And you know, if we were right on it and we take all of our chances, then it might have been slightly different. But credit to the West Indies, they played fantastically well today.
I hope you're not put off by declaring, Joe, because I think everyone at the time said it was the right thing to do. So you can't change your mind in hindsight.
No, exactly. In hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, isn't it? There's obviously other things that you would have wanted to do differently throughout the whole game, and I think if we're being brutally honest, that wasn't a good enough score first innings on this wicket.
Yeah. Batting issues we've talked about again. One or two took their opportunities though in this game.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of guys really did stand up, and one of the real pleasing things of this Test match was the way we fought back into it. You know, previously we might not have found a way back into the game, and for me that was a real step forward for this side, finding a way on that third day to show some real fight and character and get into a position where we could declare.
I must ask you about the light. I mean, in lots of ways it's great to have a game of cricket. There are laws and rules and regulations for a purpose, though, and it might have been that the last pair were together and they might have gone off. I mean, are you happy that the game was played through to its conclusion like this?
I think that, I mean, my views on it is irrelevant, really. The fact of the matter is we played a full Test match, the lights were on. It probably was a bit dark, and we have already played a day-night of this series, but you know, the umpires are there to make those decisions, and once they're made, you've just got to get on with it.
Are you kind of saying it wasn't the light that cost you the game?
Well, yeah, it wasn't the light that cost the game. We weren't good enough in the first 2 days. Simple as that. But you know, it's one of those things that is completely out of your control and out of your hands, and you've got to make sure you try and get on with it and do the best in the position you're in.
Thanks for your honesty. See you at Lord's. Thank you indeed, Joe. Well, there we are. Can't blame the light or anything else. I think Joe Root there acknowledges the errors that they made along the way. He's very candid, and I do hope, Michael, that he's not put off by declaring like that, because thank goodness it was the right thing. I don't hear anybody saying it was the wrong thing to do. And from a cricketing perspective, with 6 overs to have a bowl, you get a wicket or two. I mean, you've got to play positively.
There's 2 things that have happened this week. All the pundits wrote the West Indies off. No one can say that they didn't give the West Indies a chance this week. No one gave them a chance. And everyone that I spoke to last night, along the corridors, into the car park, we're all saying, well, what a great declaration. 24 hours later, England lose, and people say, he shouldn't have declared. I think it shows that he's going to be the style of captain, and I hope he continues in that vein, that he's going to go and try and get the wins. Now, what he's provided here is a fantastic day of Test match cricket. We all speak about the little bit of the Test match cricket in decline. We need more days like this where captains maybe are willing to lose to try and win the game, and every now and again, you lose. But I would think that he's learnt a lot from his team this week. He spoke there about the second innings comeback. England under a huge amount of pressure, deficit of 169, and yet they batted really well under that pressure in the second innings. So that's a big positive from the England side. You look at the loss at Trent Bridge against South Africa, there was a huge amount of negativity around the team, whereas this time when they lose, I'm looking at the credits to the West Indies, and I thought there's a lot of positives that came from the England batting team this week, whereas in the past it's always been a bit of a negativity.
Let's speak to the England coach, Trevor Bayliss, who's warmed up to come out here. It is a bit chilly. Has all that surprised you, Trevor?
Look, I think we lost the game in the first couple of days, to be honest. Our batting was a little bit off in that first. Took us a little while to get into the game, I think, or to learn how to play on that wicket. I thought the West Indian bowling attack bowled extremely well during this match. They bowled a good length, put a lot of pressure on us, and then our bowling, I think, was a bit off in that first go. We went past the edge of the bat and got a lot of edges, but we didn't follow it up with more good balls. We just let them off the hook with easy 4 balls and balls off the hip. So, but some very good, some positives out of with the bat in the second innings.
It's amazing you can win a Test match by dropping 7 catches. I mean, that's bizarre, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I mean that's how small the margins can be sometimes.
Yeah. Are defeats ever good? I mean, does this make you reflect on where we are, the Ashes just down the road, and it makes you look more critically at areas as a result of just winning another game easily?
I think it certainly keeps us focused. That's for sure. Getting it, I mean, everyone was saying after the last few tests, that we're in a good place for the Ashes and that type. Well, we've lost this one, and this will, I'm sure, will keep the guys grounded, and they can come out in the next match and show us what they've got.
Yeah. Stoneman, Malan, are you happy with the way that they played here?
Yeah, very. Look, I think Stoneman at the top of the order, he's looking, he looks tough, like a tough player, a natural type of a player. And his concentration. Both he and Malan spent a fair bit of time out in the middle, and that'll do them the world of good.
Yeah. Good to hear Root. I think saying there that he was happy with the declaration last night. I don't think anybody will criticise him for that. I mean, did you have a part in that, or was it entirely his decision?
No, certainly between he and Stokes, it was. I thought it was a very good decision. Hopefully, the result doesn't change the way he's thinking about the games and declaring like that.
Yeah. And the last question, I asked him about the lights. I mean, were you happy that the game was seen through to a conclusion like that? Does it set a precedent if the boot's on the other foot, you've got the last 2 batsmen hanging on in there and the light's not good? I mean, it's a really difficult balance, isn't it, this?
Yeah, it is. Look, to be honest, from my point of view, happy to keep playing. I suppose the challenge for the ICC is to make sure it's the same across the board. It was only less than 2 years ago we were batting and had to go off with 15 runs to win in the UAE. So
exactly.
They're the types of things. I know it is a challenge, but if we could make it the same for everyone, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. Well, it's set up for Lords, isn't it? So it's a really good competitive way actually to look ahead to the Ashes.
Yeah, certainly. Look, and there's been some good play from both teams in both these matches. So the third one should be a belter.
All right. See you there. Thank you, Trevor, very much indeed. Trevor Bayliss, the England coach, of course. If you're just joining us, West Indies have won this game. The whole thing took a long time to happen, but they won with 5 overs to spare by 5 wickets as well. I can see Joe Root, who we've already talked to, actually giving his thoughts over there to television as well. But it's a terrific performance with Shai Hope scoring 118 not out. He's the first batsman ever at Headlingley in first-class matches, Test matches, to score hundreds in each innings of a game. So a superb effort by him. We've seen some wonderful celebrations here. Jason Holder, the West Indies captain, I see wandering up over there as well. He had an enormous smile on his face. So it's 1-1. With 1 test to go, and well, Michael, it's great, isn't it? I mean, as far as Lords is concerned, that could have felt like a real down in the dumps and a sad way to finish a season. But actually now, and England have got some questions to answer.
Well, they have, and also, I mean, I don't know what the pitch will be like, but if it's the same kind of wicket that we had against South Africa, the toss could be quite important. If you remember, the pitch deteriorated, spin came into the game, the odd ball kept low. It might have a little bit more preparation time. I know there was a final the week before that Test match against South Africa, but the West Indies have got to build on this confidence. They have to go down to Lords and they'll have a good week off, as will the England players, and you would think it would trigger England into a better performance than we've seen it. I don't think they were complacent. I've watched them closely, and I've seen them prepare, I've seen them train. They're very committed.
Sure.
I just think they were caught out by a West Indies team this week that just played so well. That first day bowling, Shannon Gabriel and Kemar Roach bowled terrific lengths, and I would say that's this is, the third time I've seen England here, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, and now the West Indies, that they've been outbowled. They've been outbowled by the opposing side with their lengths in the first innings, and I think that's a real lesson for the England side, that they can bowl that little bit fuller in the first innings here at Headlingley. So when they get the chance in the future to come back here and play, they've got to get those lengths right, because they are allowing the opposition to outbowl them, which you'd never thought you'd be saying against the likes of Broad, Anderson and co, Stokes and Woakes. And the West Indies deserve all the credit this week. The surprise of all, we're all eating humble pie. Now, can they do it again and make it a real competitive match at Lords? I guess they'll gain confidence, but they've got to realise that they've got to be consistent. They've got to go again. These young players in their side, celebrate tonight, have a great party. I'm sure they will, but then get back down to Lords and try and gather their thoughts again, learn from it. And a huge credit to Stewie Law as well. I know he got a real pasting after Edgbaston, not just from here, but certainly from back home and potentially some of his board members. Well, what a response it's been from the West Indies. It was great to see.
And it does mean, and we saw actually a bit of Mason Crane, took a brilliant catch, by the way. Are thoughts of experiments for Lords and just throwing things around? You can't do that.
England have got to win the series. The next series is the Ashes. They beat a good South Africa team 3-1. Again, no one thought anything other than a 3-0 England victory in this series. That's what I expected. That's what I guess you would have expected. Now they go to Lords 1-1 in a series, and it would be, it's not a disaster to win any game of cricket, but it would be a real big blow to them to lose to the West Indies in a series just before the Ashes.
All those drop catches, extraordinary, wasn't it, really? A flawed game has produced a really magnificent finish. Thank you to Michael. Thanks to everybody, of course. We're about to wrap things up down here now. The last of the interviews being given. It's pretty chilly. The floodlights are on, but the umpires saw it through, and I think everyone who was here today, and it's a really good last day crowd too, and well done Yorkshire actually for marketing this game so well. They'll go away happy with the occasion, if maybe not the result. And you can watch highlights via the cricket section of the BBC Sport website, the app, and our pint-sized TMS will be available shortly. Coming up on 5 Live Sports Extra, the next commentary from the US Open Tennis is coming your way. Our next cricket on 5 Live Sports Extra is coverage from the County Championship tomorrow. On Friday, commentary of the KSL Finals Day from Hove, and then the T20 Finals Day from Birmingham. Don't forget, though, the big date in the diary is a week on Thursday for the final test of the summer, the final of this series from Lords. We look forward to your company then. From here, though, it's goodbye for now.